Hello, everybody. Welcome to Paddling Pool 359. I am joined here by my lovely co-commentator, Jason, and we are about to get started with our first round of winner's bracket, Lifeblood versus Bland Decavitator. How are you feeling today getting ready for these games, Jason?
I am very excited. Obviously, the Looty season has just started, so a lot of these teams are figuring out how they want to shape up in the group stage. So, lots of chances for practice, many paddling pools, many Tritons. We're going to see a lot of returning teams. Of course, Lifeblood up in Division 3 with some very good players, notably Bolt and Cosme, have been trying to make a name for themselves in Division 3. And hopefully make their way to the playoffs. But of course, we're not gonna shy away from Bland Decavitator. They've got a few names that I recognise: Altalira and Pancakes from the iconic Less Than 3, who were known for their showing in the Splatoon Stronghold way back when things kicked off. But we're gonna start off with Zone's Crableg, and Mari. It's a pretty difficult map to play, but luckily both teams are holding backlines. We've got Bo on one side and Pen on the other, so we're gonna see how this matchup goes, Mari.
Yeah, really interesting from both sides. I will want to say, look at that splash on the side of Lifeblood. This map is so favored for Crab, but right now it looks like one player down on both sides, a Crab already being popped on the side of Lifeblood. Like I said, no stopping that special on this map. Pushing back all the members of Bland Decavitator as Lifeblood gets the first zone cap here, but you know, this map really goes goes two ways, Jason. It can either be extremely lockout or extremely back and forth, and there's no in between.
Oh, and an early disconnect is probably gonna stop things for now, but we were talking about the Crab that came out instantly, and yeah, that's almost a staple for any Splash Pen comp is fast cooler, fast Crab the moment arises, and within the first 20 seconds to get as much pressure on, especially on Crab Leg, where there's not really many spots you can sit safely, like in between court, and dropping into the left and right pits is almost a death sentence. So that's why Crab is so strong on this map. You can take space and put pressure on your opponent so easily in so little time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it feels like some maps have like a certain number of Crab spots, right? This map, it feels like just anywhere you can set up a Crab and you can get either really strong pressure on the opponent team or like at least some pressure. It's never like a bad Crab spot, really. So here we go. We're getting back into this, and we talked about that splash a bit, but I want to also look at the other members. I'm seeing that short-range blaster on the side of Bland Decavitator. That's not something that we see super often. We see the normal kit or the splashdown kit, but the Crab kit is not something we often see.
Yeah, and a change of pace this time. Although the Crab does come up on top mid, it seems that one's already gone down for the side of Lifeblood on the left-hand side. The cooler does come out for Lifeblood as they try and get things back in their control. That's a two-down situation. They've got rushing forward with the Tacticooler. It's just the sword stuck in a booyah, managing to trade out one with a bomb, but the slosher of Genby is going so crazy at the moment. Big picks, and it's just like the last game where they've already taken early zone control, and this time they can push forward into that top right space.
Oh yeah, getting the bow with that burst bomb, with that splat bomb, I mean, really good pick there, and it lets the slosher push up, especially with that pick onto the blaster in their spawn. This looks like it's going to be a really strong knockout for them. One special is online for the side of Bland Decavitator now too, but right now it seems like they're just stuck in their base, and with that pen set up and a Crab being popped on their top left, it doesn't seem like they're in any good position to get out of their spawn anytime soon, Jason.
That's right, and they're really relying on that Crab tank from the blaster to get things done. The Booyah and the strikes just aren't doing it for now, because you're looking at the Cosme's splash is going to output Crab so much more than the blaster, and on top of that, you've got a Rage Blaster poking under the plat. There's just so much ground that Bland Decavitator has to cover, and that's going to result in Lifeblood's first victory as they step up 1-0.
Yeah, what a dominant game from Lifeblood there. They put so much pressure down. They got the perfect opening, it felt like, getting that 3-down position, and then the slosher punishing that last player and managing to have strikes for letting them to push in further into the spawn. That was such a well-played game by them, and I'm curious to see how Bland Decavitator might retaliate. How do you think they might do that next on this game, TC Mako?
Well, I think they've got a lot of good displacement tools to work with. They've got the triple in strikes, they've got the booyah bomb. I think they need to step up the aggression a bit. I think we talked about typically what you saw with the custom blaster that helped the splashdown, or maybe the bubble blaster as well. I think their blaster player's got a lot of options that they can switch to just to step up that aggression. I think on a map like Mako, triple splashdown has a lot of uses in a lot of the sort of tight knit areas of the map. I think that's where they should head to next.
I agree. I think also the bubble kit could be really good, setting up in front of the tower to prevent any pressure from just going onto that tower. I think of that pen player actually hanging out on the top right area. That can be really bad for them going into that first check. So that's definitely something they'll need to shut down. But I'd be very curious to see, and I'd love to see more of them because, I mean, I think there's always a joke about commentators wanting as many games as possible, but I would like to see more from the members of Land Decapitator because it didn't feel like we got to see too much from them from that last game.
Yeah, they managed to shut down the early aggression at the start, but not before the crab from Lifeblood got set up in time. I think this map is going to favor them a lot more in that they can take their own sort of aggressive lines. And we've got a double bucket comp this time, actually. We've sacrificed the Booyah Bomb for a Reef Slider on the Treadringer from Altalira.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Bucket is in a really good spot right now, and Slider's not a bad special either, but definitely not something you see super, super often. So starting out though, one player down on both sides. That bow went down very early. That could have been disastrous for them, but luckily that did not have anything to happen. And getting that crab shut down too with the slider, I see why they went for the slider pick. That was really good for starting them off. Getting first touch on TC, but there is a lot happening here, so I don't think much is going to happen for them in terms of a push right now, Jason.
Yeah, Bold's trying to grab as much attention as they can on the bottom right side. They managed to catch one, another going down in the mid, and finally the Kraken comes out. Is going to force a retreat from Bland Decapitator. The Kraken catching one on the retreat, and it's all things chill at the moment for Lifeblood as they pop the strikes as well. Crab up on the right hand side. Cosme's surely going to secure this kill. Not even the bucket somehow is escaping. It's going to put some pressure on the tower, and that's going to cause problems for the moment, but not before Cosme finally puts it to bed. And the second checkpoint already in favor of Lifeblood.
Yeah, this is so dangerous. They have the strikes online and they're already popping it, and two members are down going into that third checkpoint. Slosher is trying to back them up here. One player down, but they're about to knock out, and that is it for that game. Oh my gosh. What a, like, blink and you miss it game, Jason.
Yeah, quite literally. So much pressure on this at the start. I mean, it looked like the Bland Decapitator had a pretty good idea of how they wanted to shape up into the crab tank of Lifeblood, and they had the counterplay for it, but they didn't seem to capitalize. They felt a bit shaky after that kill. They didn't really know where they wanted to go next, and that hesitation allowed the members of Lifeblood to get back in and hold mid once more and then make another push forward. I think that's where Bland Decapitator made their mistake, and that's where Lifeblood capitalized.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we were looking at the other players, it also just felt like all the players went past back into Bland Decapitator's spawn and just got that wipeout when we weren't looking. Don't even know what happened there. But unfortunately, after that dominant set, we will have to go to a real quick break. Don't go anywhere. There will be a lot more games to come, even more exciting than this one.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Paddling Pool. Next up for you, we've got Distinct versus Close Combat, a clash of two Division 2 Titans. Obviously, Distinct making their way to their grand final in the last edition of Leagues Under the Ink, but Close Combat were previously an iteration of 3-point divers with a slight change in picking up Swashy this time. Despite being in Division 1, they're in Division 2 for this run, and Mari, it's gonna be a pretty crazy map 1.
My gosh, yeah. I was about to talk about how, like, oh, these are players that everyone knows, like, Distinct, such a memorable team, but, oh my gosh, all of that went away the moment I saw this game 1. Wahoo Zones. This is not something we typically see, but I guess with more all zones tournaments popping up more, these players have been playing it more. But I don't think that means that this is something we're used to seeing on stream by any means. So it'll definitely be a really interesting match, to say the least.
Yeah, honestly, I wish I could tell you guys what the thought process is on picking this map, but we're just going to have to wait and see as we look into the comps that's being ran. Distinct, of course, playing with Jammy this time instead of their usual 4, but that doesn't mean they're going to sacrifice the bow. They've still got it with them as Close Combat lineup with a ballpoint and brush comp accompanied by a Forge Pro and a VAC 96.
Yeah, what interesting comps coming out both sides. Definitely not meta picks that you generally see. I'm really interested to see how it'll fare up, as the double long shooter will definitely be a hard matchup for some of the members of Distinct. But as I'm saying, that 2 members go down of Distinct, but 2 members also go down in Close Combat. Really close game so far, but right now, Distinct currently has the first zone cap, as one player goes down in slider, but does get the trade onto that ballpoint.
Yeah, the restarter going all the way into the camp as the VAC has popped up. Goggy and Afro are just tussling. Afro's trying to make sure this VAC doesn't get as much value as it does, as on the respawn, Akira's going to try to go for a flank. But the VAC does cap the zone, gives a bit of life for Close Combat as Akira on the flank, trying to get the pick, but no, shut down by Rafa. So the Jet comes out from Hyperstar, trying to get any picks. Tiger pushing into the Inkjet, managing to trade it out, and this is just an advantage for Distinct as they keep getting these trades in their favor.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one thing that most players know about Wahoo Zones is that it can be very lockout heavy. As you can see, there's only 2 entrances really when you're trying to get into that zone, so you really have to make the both out of both entrances. Right now, this brush is popping that hammer, forcing the members back as they do get that zone cap. Hammer does get the kill on that bow. What a crazy shot there. But right now, it looks like this not going far. Actually, no, the slider gets shut down. I expected that to get 3, but no. Getting no one, so this will get a good opportunity for Close Combat to get a good push here.
You saw that Swashi was so close to, was one tap from the initial push from Rafa, but literally dived behind the center of the pole perfectly to position themselves to block the reslider. The Booyah comes out to prolong this offense, dives down onto Afro, gets the trade. Swashi is playing pretty good right now as Hyperstar is trying to hold this left-hand side against his bow. Popsy Inkjet and the VAC comes in through. That's 1 down for Hyperstar as he's looking to push this Dread out as far as possible, looking to punish Afro on the jump in. Not able to, but it's followed up by his teammates, and this is still prolonged offense for Close Combat.
Yeah, they do have that penalty points put in place along with the extra 11 points that they need to get, so that does give Distinct the chance to get back in here. No specials online. 2 players do go down to a flank behind from that, but unfortunately also one goes down to that Inkjet, so no lead will be taken and no points will be gained here. So the zone goes back to Distinct here.
Yeah, it was a big play from Rafa getting in behind, knowing that they needed to pull the attention of those 2 sort of anchoring players to try and keep things alive. And the VAC is coming out. It looks like Afro is sharking on the side of it. And Tiger trying to get forward as well with the reslider. 1 down in the zone. That's the brush down. And the reslider managing to find Swashy. That's 3 down as well, actually. And a wipe! Just like that, the reslider getting so much value, waiting for that moment where the VAC was done trying to be filled. And as they launched it towards the zone, the slider came through and punished it, and Akira is going to try and get this flank as quickly as possible. Hammer soon, but Rafa is looking to shut it down. He's 1 tap. The Jet will put it to bed. The Booyah's not going to be enough, and that's game 1 for Distinct.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I think that's what I was more expecting. A immediate knockout, but really close at the start. I think the knockout was, the wipeout was what sealed the deal there. I'd love to see more from both of these teams going into this next game, because the next few games will definitely be more set up for that closer match, Jason, as we are going into Clam Scorch for this next map.
Yeah, and I think this kind of map will favor a close combat a little more. I don't hate the pick on Wahoo. I understood the vision was what they wanted to do on the opening was just get a vac early so they could deny any early pressure from the aggressors on Distinct, namely Afro leading the charge in most of those cases. But I feel like now they have more chances for this brush to get involved, because on Wahoo it's pretty easy just to have someone positioned on the opposite side of the map to watch that flank, and Distinct were doing a really good job of that. But this time it might be a lot harder for Distinct to cover all bases.
Yeah, I mean, this will also be a lot more favorable for the brush on close combat. Wahoo is not exactly a fun map to push in on when you are a brush player. Not a lot of opportunities for a flank anywhere, really, as we kind of saw every time they try to push up, getting cancelled by that Dread player specifically. So this should be a lot better for them, as they can have that grate and that ramp, two really good spots that they can't watch at the same time. So hopefully maybe some brush shenanigans, but at this level you can never really expect that, because these players are just so good in their awareness that they will really shut that down.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be on Distinct to make sure they can shut down those flanks, and of course they've got more ground to cover on this, as well as focusing on the other things like, collecting clams, playing the objective, trying to push forward. There's so much for them to think about on this map that it should favor close combat. And we're also going to have to see how close combat try and adjust to their game plan from before. Will they stick to the back? Will they put Goggy on a different 96, for example? Like, will they opt for a cooler to, step up the aggression? Or will they opt for the Kraken for more displacement? We're going to see how this shapes up into Game 2. Same comp for Distinct. And there it is, the cooler 96 for Goggy. They're looking to step up the aggression this time, Mari.
Yeah, you called it. I think switching to that cooler is a really good idea for them, especially with how much they want to push forward compared to how much their brush will want to push forward. So starting off, one player does go down immediately on opening, the pro on the side of close combat. Brush trying to get something here, does get the other brush player on the side of Distinct. So 2 for 2, but one more player going down on Distinct. Looks like right now this should be in favor of close combat, but the Dread doing a really good job kind of keeping pace here, making sure that none of the members of close combat are able to push up too suddenly.
Yep. Still holding this midfield. It's a war of attrition right now. Anyone trying to find any damage, any picks they can find. The Inkjet's going to end without any picks found. Akira trying to drop onto Rafa, and Rafa is going to escape with their life, so it's still a neutral game for the moment. Still very quiet. A hammer coming out from Akira. That's 2 down. 1 kill on the top mid as well is going to open things up for close combat. The Jet to try and stall this push with the 3-up bomb is going to open up some more space. Maybe another pick should set things in motion for close combat, but there it is. Swashi finally getting the pick on Rafa. That's going to allow them to finally move forward. Akira finally flooding in. Gogi pushing forward on the top right. Again, 3 down and 2 balls in is going to get loads of early points for close combat. Surely we're looking at 30 points right off the get-go.
Yeah, absolutely. They have so many clams coming in and more coming in still. Getting the pick on that bow could be huge also if they could get that clams, but unfortunately, no, they're all the way back in the spawn, and I don't think that's as far as they want to go. Getting a few more, so push should probably go down to 15 if they can get that last one, but no, looks like we're going to end at 18. That is such a huge score to start the game off, though. Puts Distinct on such a back foot with 3 minutes left on the game. They're really going to have to fight their way up to be able to match that score, Jason.
Yeah. 3 minutes left to play. There's plenty of time. They could definitely get a few pushes at a time to slowly chip away at this lead that close combat have established so early. We'll be looking at the Inkjet now, and hopefully if someone's going to follow up on this, looking to move forward, the cooler is going to go out for close combat. And a drop on the flank from Akira, trying to catch this Inkjet recoil, is not going to be able to, and he's going to get punished by Afro. A VR bomb to cause some displacement. A re-slider from Rafa to try and set things in motion. He's going to get punished. Not if the trade from Afro comes out. Kraken and Zuka all in a panic, you might think, because the Inkjet from Hyperstar is going to be at a safe distance away. The Kraken's not going to get any value, and that's the push dead from Distinct without a score.
Yeah, and they lose their power clam there. That could have been a really good position for them to get something off of that, but now the brush is all the way back into their spawn, getting 3 down in mid. Now there are 2 back on the board, but that's people back in their spawn. Hammer is online for this brush player, and they are just doing such a good job staying on this ramp, preventing anyone from pushing up. Looks like they will back up for a minute to try to get a power clam and for that cooler to be popped, but right now, we went from like 3 minutes left to 2 minutes left in a blink of an eye, and no scores online for Distinct. This is a really uphill battle for them so far.
Just trying to tick away, and as are their lives. The Reslider trying to find something is going to get punished immediately, and Akira's hammer from earlier got a clean pick onto Tiger. The Zuka from Afro to try and keep things alive for Distinct, but it looks like Swashy is going to take this aggression all for themselves, and he's going to find a trade. Can't get the BR in time. It's just a 1v1. Wait, hang on, not to wipe out. Hold on a minute. The Afro is going to try and keep things in the favor of Distinct. They just need to get some plants in and get at least 1 score in to keep things going, but they're going to be a bit slow. They're waiting for the advance and the Kraken. Finally, it will come out, and the jump of the Pity is going to try and keep their lead alive. To 60 it is for now. The Booyah comes out to try and stop things from going any more worse for close combat. A trade out between Swashy and Tiger. The Zuka to try and keep things alive, but the push is no more as Akira is going to try and keep things away on this flank. Is going to stall so much time. Finds Rafa. This is excellent work from Akira to control all this damage. A second from Akira is going to open up the midfield for close combat to move back in.
Yeah, 2 go down though. This is good for them. They need to get more opportunities, and there are 30 seconds left on the clock, Jason. They really need to make something happen here. They have that 1 power clam behind, and it looks like right here they're close to another power clam, but they need a lot more than that to be able to match the lead. At the very least though, they are on the board from earlier. Getting the punish on that brush is a huge thing to get them started with. And 15 seconds left on the clock. They have specials ready, and they should be able to do this.
Should. The hypersizing jet is going to cause some problems as Akira surges forward with it. Only managing to find the 1. The Krakens come out. They're saving the Pity. Rafa's going to go in and probably pop this Reslider once they score it in, but it's cancelled before it can get popped. It's just on Tiger now to get some picks forward. It's 2 down. It's only the bow remaining, and that's going to be game. Close combat will tie things up.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We talked about how that map would change things up for close combat, especially for that brush player, and it really did, and they showed it to us in great detail, honestly. Being able to navigate behind, that messed up a lot of Distinct's pushes, especially with the bow player in behind. I felt like the bow player never truly felt safe to do an inkjet or really take the space that they wanted to take there, Jason.
Yeah, and it's all thanks to Akira's timings. Akira's always looking for these timings where the bow is in inkjet and looking forward, so they know that there's no anchor that's able to watch them on the flank. They take those timings and they run in behind to always drag at least pull away 1 or 2 members of Distinct, and that causes a lot of disruption to their formation. It's really good from Akira to notice those timings and take and capitalize on that. We're going to go on to TC Inkblot, which again I'd argue is like pretty good for the brush. They've got a lot of opportunities where they can get in from the left, from the right-hand side, get into that top left on holds, and drop on flanks on the defense. I think this is definitely looking like close combat could be closing this one out.
Yeah, but you have to not discredit Distinct. They're also a very good team, very recognizable to all of us if you play paddling or if you play Triton. So I'm expecting them to really look for punishing that brush this game, checking the flanks a lot, and kind of keeping an eye out more. I would expect, honestly, the more faster weapons that are having that more automatic kill time would be the shot that would focus the brush more, since they can kind of take the brush down a lot easier than some other weapons could. But the Dread also did a really good job, so if all of them keep a close eye out, I think they could be able to shut down the brush and hopefully get really good pushes off this game, Jason.
Yeah, I think this game is just going to be a battle of who's going to outflank the other. Is Akira's brush going to do its job, or is Afro going to go on a tear on the opposite side? You can see how things are opening up. Both flanks being used right away to grab as much attention as possible. Akira's going to run under the plat and grab the attention of the bow, and there it is, shut down so up. Rafa managing to find the pick as they push this right on time. Swashy's gone down as well. 2 down so quickly without grabbing Cooler. Afro's going to go into the plat. Get a third. It's just a 4 point left. Traded out. It's only the brush alive. An early aggression from Distinct. This is what we wanted to see. Akira's going to drop on the flank to try and keep these going. He's going to jump out and bait out the Inkjet. Beautiful use of the tactical jump out there from close combat to try and stem the tide as still Distinct. They're going to break this first checkpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see how aware the members of Distinct are right now, looking for the players. But with that Zuka getting 1 pick, that keeps their push going, as they are already past that first checkpoint and going quickly to that second checkpoint right now. But 1 player is down, another goes down just now. They're popping that Inkjet to try to hopefully sustain some space, but does not look like they're continuing the push unless the shot player has anything to say about it, keeping power going and taking all that space for themselves.
Yeah, baiting out the Inkjet again. Afro's going to get away somehow with his life on 1 HP. It's just immortal at this point. Top left from the side Distinct, that's 2 down. Now it's just traded out, but now it's 3. Zuka, a bit of a waste and a bit overzealous, I think, from Distinct, thinking that they could have kept things going, as finally Close Combat are going to get control of mid and hopefully insert Akira somewhere on the map, trying to push this left-hand side. The Cooler's going to go out, and looking for an early pick is Akira. Drop down Tiger's going to go down. Hammer surely to counter this Inkjet. No! Jammy stands tall, and Afro on the flank is going to kill the ball point. And Swashy's trying to solo hold this, but Afro stands tall and keeps things in Distinct's favor.
Yeah, this is the coordination we wanted to see from Distinct last game, putting down so much pressure, giving Close Combat no chances to breathe right now, as they're already pushing this bats area before towers even reach where the first checkpoint would be if it was still there. Being forced to jump out here, though, unfortunately looks like a flank did take out the people around PC, but doing such a good job just keeping up this pressure and getting the punish on the brush while we are at it, too.
Yeah, while we're talking about that, Rafa switched off of the Dreadringer, has gone for the regular Slosher with the Tri-Strikes for that tower cheese potential. And they've got a lead here. Although it's not comfortable, it's still possible that this might be enough for the side of Distinct. Close Combat finally trade out Tiger on one side, but again, 2 down now. The bucket and the shot combined on the left-hand side to get rid of another, and a beautiful shot from Jammy to instantly cancel that Inkjet. Holy smokes, that was crazy.
Yeah, just a little quick direct on the Inkjet with Bo to seal the deal. No biggie, as they're popping their own Inkjet, pushing into this bats area, being recalled before they could go down to that pressure that was on them. Launching that rush from behind, but looks like they will have 2 down to that hammer, which is really big for them. But Close Combat has had such a hard time pushing in past mid. They've had the picks and stuff like that, but they haven't been able to put any pressure on their base so far. So this could be their chance with the Cooler out and with that Booyah and Inkjet, but unfortunately 2 do go down as I say that. Just so much pressure going online from the 2 players who are playing on stacks from Distinct.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, Close Combat just need to pick a side and put a lot of effort into clearing it and worry about the flanks later. They're trying to sit in mid for too long and try and even out where they're looking, and it's just not working. As they try and even out the space, they only get so much value on one side, and again, it just results in a situation where they're just down in numbers constantly, and this is only going to favor Distinct, where people get left alone and get put under pressure by the Inkjet. Akira on the flank is going to try and stem the bleeding now, and a big line marker combo from Gogi to kill Afro, but he's going to have to back away as the tower keeps getting dragged out again and again. A minute left for Close Combat to try and take this lead, and again, it's not like they have to do much to get this lead. It's only 61 to beat.
Yeah, they have to clear that first checkpoint and nearly get to that second checkpoint. On a map like this, that's not that much. On another map, that might be a ton, but comparatively, not really. But 2 players are consistently being down at all times on the team Close Combat. So this is not looking good going into 30 seconds left on the clock. They have specials online, getting 1 player down on the side of Distinct, and they should be able to push the TC soon. But it just looks like they're so scared of committing here. Finally popping that Booyah Bomb that they've been holding for so long with that Cooler behind, but another player comes behind Afro with the 2 down, stopping any potential push. But no, it looks like they're trying to push nonetheless, but strikes come out. That is not good for them, and that's going to be end of the game for them. Unless some shenanigans happen, which no, it does not.
Yeah, it's just a real struggle at the end there. They've got a Kraken and those strikes to deal with, a near impossible task for close combat in the end. Distinct are going to move on in the winner's bracket, and close combat will drop down to the lowers. It's Distinct. They looked a bit shaky in that game too, but it was a brilliant regain, brilliant sort of stability that we saw from them to close out this set.
Yeah, I think Distinct just knew that their weapons are so good at taking those 1v1's positions, and they would just isolate close combat so well to take those 1v1s, and if they trade, they trade. But it benefits them because they got that early lead, so a trade doesn't really matter all that much to them.
Yeah, and when you're looking at how defenses are shaped up, every time that you thought close combat might get an opening at some point, they were always sort of always getting trade out on the opposite side of the map, and that's what I was talking about before, where they sort of needed to full send on one map and overload a side so they could put Distinct under a lot more pressure, preferably in front of the tower path. But yeah, Distinct will be moving on, and we will cut to another quick break, and we'll be back with you soon.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Paddling Pool round 3 of winners, I believe, unless someone comes in and says, no, you're wrong, and I get, I don't know, pushed off the cast. But we are going to be going with Ratcan Lotu Sir versus Taskete. Jason, what do you think of these two teams? I believe you have a lot to share with us about both of these teams.
Yeah, we'll start over at Taskete. They're not very common in terms of weekly warriors, but we do see them very often. Zima, Max, and Slasher, most notably, tend to be around a lot and make pushes for those top 4 and those top 3 spots quite often. And on the other side, we've got Ratcan. That is a collection of some high-level players. We've got Toba, Rai, Leibi, and Risu making a return in a very funky pickup. We're into our BO5s now as we head further into our winners rounds, and we're going to start things off with Clamblitz Hagglefish, which is honestly a bit of an odd pick, but there's more outlandish map modes out there, aren't there, Maori?
Yeah, my hot take of the day, because I'm sure everyone wants it. I don't think Clam's Haggle is that bad. I think all Haggle modes are playable to an extent. That's what I'll say. But looking at these comps right now, we do see something I want to notice on the side of Ratcan. It's that E-leader. It's something that we've been seeing a lot more, but we haven't been seeing too much to the point where it's meta. And it's also that Kraken leader. So we might be seeing some really good pushes with that leader going in. Since this is Clams, we will see a lot of pushes happening here.
Yeah, already some early aggression on the side of Taskete. It's going to be traded out, and in the result, it's a 2v1. The Pen is going to be forced to back away, so some early mid control from Ratcat, and Cooler goes out for Taskete as they're looking for another way back in the middle, but Taskete himself is going to get put down immediately by the Lita, and that's another 2 down again. Only a 2-for-1 in result, but things are still a bit slow. It doesn't seem that Ratcat are quite happy with how things are shaping out. They're still holding the midfield for the moment. Strikes are going to go out, and they're going to give up more of this pressure as the Shark from the Blaster is going to manage to find a pick. Slasher trying to close the gap and even the numbers as finally they find it, but they've pushed Ratcan so far back, and they've got this mid control, and the zip out from Slasher is going to try and prolong this aggression.
Yeah, this is such a dangerous map mode because your 2 opportunities to push that clam basket are in really precarious situations. We see this Kraken coming out trying to push the members back, and it does do that, but 2 go down at the same time from Ratcan. So this looks like we're still in the same place we started out with, Jason. That Ratcan is still pushed back. Strikes are online though, and 1 player does go down, so this will be an opportunity for them to push in as they start to go back into mid now.
Yeah, whilst they're trying to drag some members of Taskete to the wayside. The Cooler goes down as well, but no picks down just yet. They'll back away for the Cooler, and I think this is what both teams are looking for. They're looking for surefire opportunities where they can get big picks that allow them to move forward as quickly as possible and get some secure picks. And as you can see right here, the Blaster managing to cover things down and get a second pick. The Gal is trying to hold things down, but it's not enough. Traded out. It's only Slasher to defend this, and he's going to save this. The ball doesn't make its way in. We're still at 0-0. Marionette, the Blaster trying to save something, trying to get a score. Can't save the ball in time. No, we do. But somehow, we're still going, and a push is finally unlocked for Ratcan.
Yeah, that might really be important in the long term here, because this is such a low scoring map that a score like 80 isn't horrible in the long term. But we do have to see as Taskete gets back into mid and starts their push in return. The Blaster player coming down the right side and that Slasher player getting that pick. So just the Pen online as they're going through this tent area, trying to cause some mischief, but also ultimately choosing to go back to the ramp instead, the safer option for sure.
Bubble coming out from the Blaster here is going to allow another score to go in. 70 points at least. The Tri-Strikes is going to try and put more pressure on. Slasher only finding the trade, but Lianshi goes down at the hands of Rai. Still holding this front position is
Ratcan, for the moment, they get some scores in, and it looks like that finally Toba will pop the Kraken to try and keep this aggression going. Not going to be able to continue the scores, but he's going to put some more pressure on. Marionette is going to get taken down by Slasher, not before Toba trades out one, but Slasher is going to pick up the pieces and is finally going to open things up for Daskite as they try and break into this midfield as quickly as possible. There it is, Slasher getting more aggression in, hoping that their team will help them out at some point. And Marionette on another flank, finding one, but can't find the second, traded out again. The mid is being fought for once again, but it looks like just in the favor of Ratcan once again. They're going to look to set up a flank for Risu as they keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Ratcan is doing such a good job staying in, putting their pressure down in those little tiny pieces of paint that Taskete forgets to paint. They are stuck in this corner here with that fight. So one goes down, two go down here. Being able to let Taskete push back into mid, but unfortunately it does not look like much is going to come from this as two players have gone down again on the side of Taskete. No specials have really made a large impact. There is that zip online, but that player goes down and the pen goes down, which is such a massive pick also, considering that they have the strikes online, but they go down to the curling bomb, which will let Taskete live for another day still.
Charlie Bob double is crazy. I mean, fair play to Vicky for finding the right spot to make that play happen. And is going to get another screen at the ready. Low time though for Taskete. They've got to look to make their move soon, or they're going to look to play for this overtime for that extra 50 seconds or so. In total, finally they'll make their move forward using the screen and the zip caster together. The cooler comes out a bit far back, but they're not going to be too alarmed for the moment. Finally, the Shy Strikes come out to try and get some pressure in, but nobody's moving forward as the strikes from Ratcan come out as well. Slim Shady only finding the trade, and they want it cooler. This might be a problem, but no, not before Tobiero picks up the pieces with a big splat onto one of the balls and finds the second. Slasher goes down, and that looks like it might just be game as it's just a pen alive, trying to keep things in motion, but no, will drop to that bottom left, and that should be game for the side of Ratcan. They're gonna get this game very comfortably after a bit of a stalemate in the first opening minute.
Yeah, I think from what the dominant game it was, you wouldn't expect the score to only be 36, but that's the kind of map that this is. You have a really hard time pushing through either left or right. But they did a really good job protecting those areas. The E-Leader especially getting those two snipes at the end before overtime, considering the fact that they had those two power clams online. If they got those two in, that would have been a lead switch. So that was such a good play from them. And I'm definitely expecting more E-Leader nonsense coming into this next game, which will be Crab Leg Rainmaker, Jason.
Yeah, Rainmaker Crab Leg, definitely Alita favored map. Oh boy, it's going to be tough for the side of Taskete to get involved. They really do need some help here. Maybe something to get them going. I think they had a good idea on what they wanted to do, but it felt like Slasher was moving too far forward by themselves and not really getting any help on the follow-ups. I think they need to find this balance between the aggression and the sort of togetherness that Ratcan was showing in the latter stages of that game. Every time Ratcan set up an engagement, there was always a follow-up or a crossfire from a teammate. And I think Taskete needs to take a page out of their book if they want to keep things close and take this and tie up the series on this Rainmaker Crablik set.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Not only did they have that togetherness though, they also had those just really good sharks or really good flanks. I'm looking at that blaster, especially going down those right sides or just hanging out in that tiniest little piece of ink behind a block. Plays like that are what catch players off guard, because, you know, you're just not ready for it. So I would like to see a little bit more awareness from Taskete going into this next game. But like you said at the beginning of this is a best of 5 now, not the best of 3. So they have some time to make it up. But I will say, I think that the maps that they will need to make it up on are a little funky to start off with, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough, very Lita favored maps, but I think Taskete definitely have a chance in this. They had some good looks to start with, and towards the end, they were looking like they were going to mount something going. They managed to find a clean pick on the bucket before they set things in motion, but it did get shut down quickly by that Lita. I think they're going to look to try and use what tools they have to displace the Lita more often. I think they've got a zip that moves the Lita off of their normal positions. They can definitely make better use of that. I think that's probably their main driving force for opening up the map for their pencil to get some more aggressive lines, some more aggressive sight lines to be able to take on the rest of Ratcan.
Definitely. I will say that they will have to be wary about using that zip to kind of aggro that E-leader, because with the togetherness we were talking about from Ratcan, that could be a little bit dangerous if there's cover. But going into this, we do see that Gal coming out with that cooler. I'm not 100% sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but they had that last game, but doesn't look like we have super major comp shifts here, as we are kind of playing a stalemate. One player does go down from Ratcan, as Zuka does get popped also from their side, but just kind of trying to keep up the aggro here. But looks like 2 players instead go down on the side of Tuscade, as they're not really getting much ground here.
Yeah, a bit of an odd change from Ratcan. They were going well with the Lita Zap and having Risu on the bucket with that aggression, but now they've sort of aimed for something more stable and a lot more slower. They've gone for the Cooler 96 and put Rai onto the shot, which I don't think is probably the greatest idea on Crableg. They're probably playing into sort of the more spammy side of things rather than the aggression side of things, when that was working for them in the first game, and it's showing here. The first push is going to Tuscade, and the screen is going to offset everything as they break the checkpoint so easily, Mari.
Oh yeah, breaking a checkpoint on a map like this could be huge, especially breaking the checkpoint on that left side. The shot player does go down. Blaster's kind of trying to watch this right here, but looks like they might get punished, but they do get the assist on the Rainmaker, which is really big for them for the moment. 2 players go down on the side of Tuscade, so it looks like this push is dead for them. Slosher's just trying to kind of hang out and hold space, but with Cooler coming out also for Ratcan, this is probably a really good chance for them to start pushing up here. But looks like the scores, the number of players online is kind of even right now. 2 players trying to jump out, but they're choosing instead to go for that right-hand side with just that Pen player here. So it looks like it's going to be an easy check, but no, the Slosher does get there in time to counter them. And 3 players are now currently down on the side of Ratcan, but the last player does get that important splat on the Pen player, which could be really big for them.
Yeah, it was a really cool idea. They saw the strikes come out, and Tuscade decided to all 3 members move ahead of the strikes and into the pen. It was really nicely set up. Unfortunately, they don't break the check for it, but this is still a big chance. They've managed to push their way to 63, and this has definitely given them a chance in this game. The screen for the Gal is at the ready. Slasher looking to get some aggression out. Finally finding the pick, and boy, baiting out the bubble of the Blaster as well. The Gal is going to shred it, and probably should just move ahead and play with the zip. Unfortunately, 1 is going to go down, 2 down now off of the Zuka, off Rai. Just keep things in a balance for Ratcan, and it's going to be traded out eventually, but it looked like that. I feel like they were a bit slow on that one. Tuscade, they managed to find the advantage, getting rid of the main aggressor, and didn't move forward as quick as they should have.
Yeah, absolutely. They're kind of doing the same thing that Ratcan did to them last game, kind of hanging out in those pink spots of pink that they don't remember to paint, and just punishing any time that they push up. It looks like finally this will be a good opportunity for them to push up with all the members of Tuscade back in their spawn, but they are popping the strikes to delay anyone from coming up. They get 2 down though with that Gal and that sword there. It looks like the Pen was able to get the splat though, which could be really big and gives their team time to push back in. But right now Ratcan is in a good spot to push in, but 2 players go down trying to get the pedestal. That's so unfortunate, but the bubble should hopefully even things out for the moment, and just the Pen online, that's a checkpoint for them.
Yeah, Bubble is finally going to secure the checkpoint, but they need a little something more to get forward. They're looking at Azuka, looking for any kind of picks they can get. Now that's going to open the floor up. A trade out between Slasher and Risu, but not before the rain gets picked off, but they did manage to grab the lead. It's not a safe one though. 5 points in it. And it's potential for Tuscade to still bring this back, as they killed 3 members so quickly. They managed to take some more space. Now I'll take this left side, hoping for a quick swim through off of the screen as well. They're going to put the Rainmaker through it, not before the double bomb combo gets rid of the Rainmaker, and Slasher goes down as well. A big, quick defense from Ratcan, realizing how quickly the Tuscade wants to move, and also matching their speed to keep things going. And a big pick off of the Zuka, a second, the Gal as well, and a third in total. 2 for Rai is only going to leave the Pen standing, and with them less than a minute to go, it looks like that Ratcan might take this game as well and put themselves on that point.
Ratcan knows how to play when they're in advantage, and they play that well. They are doing such a good job keeping the members of Tuscade at arm's reach. Unfortunately, 1 player does go down, but with a Blaster behind, but a Pen player does get the punish on them, so that's not going their favor. Zip's coming out, trying to clear up some space, going back for that cooler though, so I don't know how much the Zip will be able to do, but hopefully getting some pressure onto that E-leader player first. This Gal trying to go through that left side, hopefully free up some space, but with the blaster flanking behind, will they be able to get it? And they do by 1 point with overtime about to start. This is so bad for Ratcan. They have to move all the way across the map here, Jason.
Yeah, all the way across the map, looking for an early pick. That's the Gal gone down. Some early pressure to be rid of for now. Risu's picked up the rain, so they've got all the sort of tools they need to keep this going. Slash is going to go for a really aggressive dive. It's going to get punished immediately. The Slosher's on the Shark as well, looking to pick the rain, but they whiffed the first shot, and it's going to cost them not quite. I thought it might have been enough room for Ratcan to work with, but no, a big dive from the bucket. Lianshi getting that pick on the Rainmaker, unexpected. 3 dives, one by one. You thought that Tascete might have misplayed that, but no, Lianshi saves them at the death and will tie up the score for Tascete.
I think right when they went down, their final slosh barely got the Rainmaker there. Definitely saved by the bell, but I don't think that'll be enough to take them through these next few games. They're going to need something a lot more solid for these next few games, but definitely puts them back in here with that 1-1 position. They don't have to rely on Sturgeon TC for their winners bracket run to continue. They can breathe a little bit more and put Ratcan in a little bit of a more precarious situation. I wouldn't say dangerous by any means. It's 1-1, but now that they've seen what Tascete is capable of, definitely makes them a little bit worried and makes them a little bit more aware. I'm kind of thinking, do you think they will go back to that first game comp?
In terms of tower control, I think it might be the play, because what Ratcan are doing for now is they're trying to play a more solid game on a more slower game now that they've after they won that first game, excuse me. But obviously we called out that might not have been the play, and I think it showed. They lacked a lot of forward pressure. It was sort of the Blaster taking a lot of solo aggression. They were relying a lot on the Zuka from Rai, which it did have its merits, don't get me wrong. But I think they'll be looking to switch things out to put Risu back on that Slosher, because it's such a strong weapon in the meta right now, and on this map it's going to be even greater.
Oh, absolutely. I think that comp, they really just needed the stars to align to be able to make a push. They needed the Blaster player to get picks, and they also needed Zuka to get picks, and that's just not reliable enough for them in the long term. So definitely looking forward to what they'll be playing on this next game. And I'm also thinking about, how do you think Tascete will be playing on this next game? Do you think they'll be changing anything up? Or if it's not broke, don't fix it?
I don't think they have to do anything super different. There were a lot more moments where you could see Slasher going forward and then support coming in from behind. I think they're slowly but surely ironing out the small mistakes they're making. They're going to shift to an edit and a Booyah Stamper comp for this one. I'm guessing the Booyah Stamper for that GG potential, but an edit into Alita, it's a really, really tough matchup for them to deal with. So I feel like this is going to be to their detriment, Mari.
It could be, but also that short-range blaster that's been causing them so many issues, that E-leader can kind of just shred them in an instant. But right now, looks like Tascete is down to that 3-down position. That heavy edit that we're talking about is the only one alive, trying to set up coolers so the players of Tascete will be able to push in soon. Likewise, Ratcan is doing the same thing. One player coming from behind, that Gal right now, trying to get the pick, and does. So only 2 players alive. They did clear that first check though, by the looks of it. So it does put them in a pretty good position, but you never know what could happen on a map like this, as so much aggression is happening in their spawn already.
There's some early aggression, but it might be too far away from where they actually should be happening. Rita's going to trade out one, and the Booyah on top of it. Slasher's going to find the pick onto Toba. The strikes come out as well. It's going to be full control for the side of Tascete. Another 2 big picks, and it's just a leader on the side. Now a chance to get some more aggression. Flash is going to be taken down up in court as the checkpoint's broken. That's going to be lead for Tascete. It seems the edit doesn't have to do much if his teammates are sort of taking care of business up front. Lianshi's going to go down. Tascete's going to find one. Hang on, Ritu's fallen off the map on the left-hand side. I just caught that at the end there. It might not mean much, but that could have been a problem for Ratcan, because they really need those strikes to keep that defense going.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like for the moment, though, they are able to push them back. The Bubbles online along with that Cooler, so they will be trying to push up a little bit more here. But with those strikes coming out from the side of Tuscate and one player going down, another player going down too, both the strikes just at Elir online, and this is more opportunity for points. And going into that final checkpoint, this can be such a snowballing map once you get past the checkpoint, and it looks like they will be able to get past the checkpoint. But all the players of Ratcan are getting back in here, fighting fiercely for this tower, trying to push everyone back. One player goes down. They need more than this, though, to try to be able to keep everyone back. But the tower does start retreating, which is what they need to get out of this precarious situation that they are in, Jason.
Yeah, and it's just super good work from the Gao and the Sampa. They're getting in spawn constantly, putting so much pressure on the Lita, and there it is at the final moment, finally getting the kill that they were looking for so long, and it's gonna end the game for Tuscate as they go up 2-1 and they head to match point first.
Yeah, what a strong game from Tuscate that game. They had such a good job putting up the pressure. Like you said, falling off the map, unfortunately, might have cost them that defense there and given Tuscate the opportunity to get back in. But this is a best of 5, not a best of 3, so they still have 2 more chances to make it, but they are in kind of a sudden death opportunity here.
Yeah, and what I like from Tuscate in that set is they were always having the Gal and the Stamper going forward and calling out the positions of the enemy and just being like, hey, they're over here, put the strikes on here, you're gonna get 2 kills. And then we saw it, they put the strikes down behind the snipe in the court, got 2 kills, and that set things in motion so nicely for Tuscate. And I think they're going to keep doing that as they go into ROM as well, because Strikes is super strong here. Especially if they can take advantage of, there's a pretty cool tech where you can just go under the bridge and throw Strikes under the bridge. It does the same job. There's a chance here for Tuscate to close it out here, and I think it would be really strong if they can keep putting these strikes on top of the Lita, on top of the anchoring players to get rid of these jumps and to get these sneaky picks in and continue opening up the map.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We talked about that heavy edit pick, and I did really like that pick because it kind of allowed them to deal with any rushes on tower, because a good Pen player can definitely take down anyone who rushes tower, but makes it a little bit more easy to get those shots if you're on that edit. So I did like that pick, but I do not expect them sticking on that going into this next game, because that heavy edit is just in a little bit of a rough place right now, and Pen is just such a good a good weapon.
Yeah, Pen and Lita definitely been on the rise and are still continuing to be at the top of all the high level, top level gameplay we've seen. Almost every team nowadays is running it. It's almost like you're almost crazy if you're not. But yeah, we'll see if Ratcan keep their comp from the previous game, or if they go back to what they were looking at on the Rainmaker game. I don't know. Me personally, I think the Zap Bucket was doing wonders for them. I just think they need to adjust their gameplay a little bit. I think they're getting a bit too overzealous and not slowing down the pace to allow the members of Tuscate to go forward, to give sight lines for their Lita to open things up. Because when they're giving Lita the chance to get those opening picks, then they can step up the aggression and accelerate forward. But I think the issue was there is they were playing too far ahead of the Lita and away from what the Lita can see. And that's what was causing a lot of issues for Ratcan in that TC game. And I think they'll try and make these adjustments. And yes, sure, Roman is a more open map, but they should definitely slow down the pace starting things out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest weaknesses of Leader, something that everyone calls like the best weapon in the game, is that it can be so slow to push up. It really needs to play its range, but sometimes it just doesn't have the positioning to play its range. So, like you said, I do think the members of Ratcan need to let them push up into their Leader a little bit more, because right now it just kind of feels like their Leader isn't able to like fully use the potential of their weapon sometimes. But Sturgeon TC can definitely be a little bit of a weird map in general for Leader, which is also extends to Pen, which is why I'm guessing they switched to heavy edit. So definitely going to have a little bit more of an easier time on Ramen with how long the sight lines on this map are.
Yeah, what I want to see from Ratcan is a lot of this like bait and switch technique that we've been seeing at the top level, where once they grab Cooler, they sort of dive into a position and just immediately jump out. Whether they get the pick or not, it shouldn't matter too much. That should open up things for the leader to get that pick, and sort of if they can cycle that over and over, I think they'll have a good chance here of taking things to a game 5. And we're looking at this game 5. It's Clams Umami, which is again like a pretty great map for leader. There's a lot of sightlines to make use of. They could definitely finish this set in 5, Ratcan could, if they play into this game plan and play at this slow pace and just try and bait the members of Tascete into unfavorable fights and unfavorable positions where they can't get any help from their teammates.
Oh, absolutely. I really think they're just going to have to play fair game and make sure they don't get swept into Tascate's game, which, I mean, if all goes well for Ratcan on this next game, the same thing will have to happen for Tascete. So I'd love to see how these teams adapt to each other, and I think it's a joke. I've already admitted this joke, but we'd love to see a Game 5 position. It'd always be so fun for us, especially with how good these two teams are. Watching them play against each other is so much fun, and I'd love to see where it goes next if Ratcan is able to pick up this next game, which here we go into Splat Zone's Ramen. This is a match point for Tascete, and let's see if they have any comp changes, which I already noticed a few actually.
Yeah, Toba switched to the pen now, so we've got pens on both sides, and that allows Rai to play it on Splash, one of the strongest support weapons in the game at the moment. And that has meant Risu has gone onto a 52 gal, so they're going with a heavy shooter-style comp, but Risu's already gone down so early, and it's going to give a free zone cap for Tascete as they're trying to put pressure on this crab. It's so early, Slasher dropping and getting some damage in, and the Bucket trying to keep things alive on this push, but one down already, traded out on the bottom right. Risu's trying to find another pick. They do get the cap, but the numbers aren't in their favor, as the Blaster's trying to surge forward ahead of this Booyah Bomb. It's going to get shredded, the bubble, and they're going to get punished for it. The strikes to come out, and Risu's forced to back behind the shoulder of Toba for now. Another flip for Tascete, and they're holding this midfield so well. They're waiting up the specials, they're baiting the picks very easily. They're getting Ratcan stuck in a lot of 1v1 situations. Risu is forced to jump away.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much I like this comp change from them, as it just feels really passive, but as I say that, the gal does get 2 down, being able to push into the spawn, and they do get this zone cap here, so points will start taking down. They need to have a stronger hold than what Tascete had, which shouldn't be too hard. They don't have a long way to go, trying to get all that chip here, and here we go. We're seeing that kind of bait and switch activity that you're talking about with that Blaster player doing such a good job, and here's the crab coming out for hold, so this is a lead switch here, but zone will not be held for long.
You said there was a lead switch. I don't think there was. I think there was just 1 point between them. Ratcan is struggling to get the lead. A big flip for Tascete has set things in motion for a push. If one's going to go down, traded out, Slasher is going to lose their life at the cost of Risu's, but not before the Bucket trades out Risu as well. And it's like everyone is stuck here. The screen and the aggression from Tascete is so suffocating. Again, another pick on the Blaster. It's so tough. They're relying on this crab to get things alive for Ratcan, but it's not going to be enough. The Pens just keeping paint on the zone, and these fights are always happening on the road. Tascete is doing such a great job of keeping things in their favor, playing their game as you mentioned, and finally, just maybe, they might get a pick, but hang on, I think the pen, oh, and the pen's disappeared, hold on. But not if Slasher's going crazy and killing 3. Okay, he's got 2. It looks like the Ratcan are going to take this game because they've pushed past the limit for the disconnect rules. It's so unfortunate. Tascete would look like they were going to close this out, and yet Slashers ended it. They're going to drop the game, I believe, unless we're told otherwise. But man, Tascete looked like they were going to run away with it. That's so unfortunate.
Very unfortunate that they didn't decide to play it out. I could have saw a world where they continued held it, but I guess at this level, playing against such good players, it just makes it even more harder to play a 3v4 situation, so can't blame them for that either. But I guess that means that us talking about Umami Clams is back into the conversation, as we are probably going to go into Game 5 unless we hear otherwise. So, what do you think, knowing now that Rat can switch to that more passive comp, it feels like? Do you think that could change how they potentially play Lamb's Umami?
Well, when we saw the previous Clams game, we noticed that both teams were playing at a pretty slow pace in general. And that is credit to the map that is Hagglefish. It's sort of really difficult to get any pushes in unless you get a secure 3 down or wipeout situation. They'll probably look for something similar here. But I think the difference between Umami and Hagglefish, I feel like the flank potential on Umami and sort of like the pulling potential and distraction potential is a lot greater. Honestly, I'm not too sure. I think if they went back, if Ratcat went back to the leader comp, I think they'd be okay. I think the leader's got a lot more places to play from. They can change their sightlines as they see fit, but I feel like on Roman, there's only a few places they can be, and that's what makes it so easy for Tuskete to sort of like, you know, put pressure on like the spots where the leader's standing or where the pen's standing. I feel like Umami, Tobo's going to have a lot more freedom on where they want to play, and that's going to help them a lot more.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It'd be very... That's just a question, though, if they go back to E-Leader comp, because it definitely looks like with each game they're shifting towards more of a special heavy, more passive comp, especially switching on to that pen. So I'm not sure what's going through the minds of the players for Ratcan right now, but definitely going to be a bit of a toss-up for what comp they will be going into. And I mean, just like we are wondering that's definitely what Tuskete is going to be wondering too, if there will be a comp change going into this, because the two comps that Ratcan has been playing so far have been pretty different. So it just doesn't feel like you can really bet well on either comp.
Yeah. I think this is definitely a good time for both teams to, while they're discussing the result of the disconnect, the sort of just look back on that game and look at what went well for and what went a bit awful for both teams. I think Ratcan will definitely be. I think Ratcan should definitely switch their comp, but I think Tuskete should definitely keep things how they were. I think if there's one adjustment that Ratcan needs to make is I think they kind of played too much into this fight in that bottom right pit. I think they were playing too much into that, and it was getting punished on multiple occasions. There was a few times where it worked out, and they managed to find the pick, but for the most part, they were losing the fight there. They need to open up the map more, and there it is. Ratcan are going to take the game off the DC. They're not going to replay it as we go into Umami. I think this is what Ratcan needs to do a better job of. They need to spread out the map a bit more. I think they had the right idea with slowing the pace down, which sort of worked, but they were definitely grouped up a lot more often than I would have liked. So if they can spread out a lot more and utilize the full map here on Umami, they definitely have a chance of closing this out in 5.
Yeah, I would also say spreading out a little bit more, but when they do spread out, making sure they take those fights together. Because there were moments that if they were spread out and they were taking a fight, they weren't exactly together. It was a lot of pressure from one player going up, like especially between the Gal and the Blaster player. They would push up one way, but then there wouldn't be really much cover for them or much backup. So I would love to see a lot more playing together when they do spread out. As we saw in that first game, we talked about how well they would spread out and play together. So I'd love to kind of see a repeat of our game 1 from Ratcan. But you can never know. This is after what was going on before the DC in that last game. You have to also acknowledge the mental game that they might be going through right now. But with players as good as these, you can never bet anyone out, as we are going into our tiebreaker game here.
Into our tiebreaker game, you'll be thinking, what is the mental state of Tuskete right now? They had so much control in that final game, and they've opted for a backless comp. They're going full house, full send on the aggression. And it's a Gambit on the 52 as well. It's already looking for one pick on this left-hand side. It's going to be pushed away pretty quickly. There's Rise looking to get the crab up, and there it is. Shut down the Gambit. Traded out. The Slasher's trying to get some aggression as well, and that's 3 down already. A wipe out. The crab getting the chip off of Risu's aggression, and they're going to make their way into the basket very quickly.
Yeah, Gal does drop and is able to get the pick on that pen. Could be really big for them, but they are punished by that blaster player. And since the pen was coolered, they're back in fast, and it is just that Slasher player on their basket being forced to retreat. They do not have a power clam yet. Actually, now they do, but their power clam is not in a great position to push up here. They will need to get more picks before they're able to get that. But as I say that, 2 more go down to that Gal player in pits, so this is the perfect opportunity to push up, especially with another power clam about to be online from that Gal player right there, taking the score immediately down to 60 with more clams coming in, and the cooler also coming out for the moment.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was liking this from Ratcan. They finally realized once they got all those picks that they needed, they slowed down the pace after getting those scores in, thinking about what do they wanted to do next, and it just allowed them to get that extra bit of points in. And now they're trying to hold this top mid, but hold on a minute. Basket Day is going to take control of this top mid space after they pick on the Gal, and Slasher's trying to maybe extend the amount of pressure they have on certain parts of the map. Aware of the blaster on the bottom right, they are going to get marked. Rio's going to be popped. They're going to look to put some pressure on with the strikes in tandem on this forward space, but the blaster is trying to be a nuisance, keeping things away. But now Slasher's going to go down. Brilliant job from this blaster to keep things away from this left-hand side for Ratcan. And a big team fight as well, collapsing Risu and the blaster together is going to be able to keep things alive. Finally, a big direct as well, and trade out in hindsight, but it looks like the things are getting a lot more bloody than I have previously imagined. Goodness me.
Absolutely. We have a power clam finally online from Basket Day, but it took 2 of their players to make that happen and clear up any space. Many players already pushed up, popping that splash down on that left side, getting another player, 2 players down, and we are back into their spawn. Trying to keep pressure back. The Gal player is trying to open up the space here, fighting that crab right here, but looks like they are not able to. Actually, they do get to pick 2 players down on Ratcan. There's so much back and forth pressure happening here, but they don't currently have they don't have the clams currently to be able to get a lead push. But with that Booyah Bomb coming out and 1 player going down, 2 players going down here, this is the perfect opportunity for them to push with that cooler online too. So they will need to get a nice amount of clams with the players going back also, and should be able to possibly get a pity in that is a lead shift. So we need to see if they do get that pity in, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen for now as 1 player goes down, but the Gal is still causing problems in their spawn here, keeping up pressure. Wait a minute, no, it looks like that power pity does come in, gets the score down to 21. What a lead here, Jason.
Yeah, big lead for Tascete, and you could see what Mr. Tascete was doing off of all of that aggression in spawn and managing to get some more clans in, walking behind the screen to shield their advance. And 12 is the score to beat for Ratcan. They've got 1 minute and 20 to play with. And yeah, I was talking about it, that aggression from the Gal to score so heavily for the clans to get in. Slasher scoring the basket and allowing time for the Pencil to get the jump in. It's brilliant team play on all sides for Basket as Ratcan trying to push forward with this crap. He's going to find the 1 pick. Cool's going to go out. The Gal's closing the problems behind. Right, finally picking up the core. It's a 2-down situation. The Strikes are going to steal this out, and Slash is going to try and move ahead of these to get any more picks. But no, Slash is going to be taken down. It looks like Ratcan might have a chance, but it's just not clean trades when you don't want them to happen. The Splashdown is going to get one as well, but it's just a Zap alive. It looks like Cascade might be able to hold on in this final 40 seconds, Mari.
Yeah. But they will need to survive. The pressure that Ratcan is applying here is really good, even if they do keep having trades for it. 1 player trying to push up does get punished here. Really good punish from the players here. And it looks like they will finally be able to push Ratcan out of their spawn for the moment. Just the 10 player alive here. And does go down to that Gal, getting that good push. They have to protect this power clam if they have any hopes of getting that, but it looks like the player who grabbed it will go down. And so not only do they have to think here about pushing into their spawn, they also have to worry about Tascade getting another push onto their basket, which immediately would end the overtime here. 2 players down on the side of Tascade being forced back up. Gal does get 1. This could be the opportunity that they need, and they have the jump set up. Did they get the jump in? And they get the score, but only 1 player is alive here, Jason.
Yeah, only 1 player alive, and that's going to do it. Tascade not shaken by the DC loss. They keep their mental in check, and they very comfortably beat Ratcan as they move on in the winner's side.
What a game that was! Oh my gosh! I'm still like feeling it in my heart. I'm like a little too excited. Just that fight of both of these teams. It was such a good game from both of them, but Tascate does come out on top. Their team play was just on it that whole game.
Yeah, it was what was really cool from Tascate is what they were doing is they were always setting up opportunities where they could just bait out one person diving. There were so many times where the blaster or the gal was going on a solo dive and they were just waiting for those moments to get those picks and then popping the specials after to put some more pressure on. It was a really, really good routine play from Tascate to keep Ratcan out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that gal just got some of the really good picks there. You don't see too much of this green gal compared to whale wall gal, but is definitely really good with that curling bomb to push them forward, as we saw getting that double in one of the games with that curling bomb. Still won't forget about that, but also being able to push up so quickly, punishing players who are overextending, like that pen player there.
Yeah, and that will do it for another set, and we'll be with you for just one more as we head into the winners semis. We'll be right back after another short break.
Welcome back, everyone, to Paddling Pool. Now, you may notice that my voice does not sound like Mari's or Jason's. That is because, unfortunately, at the end of the last match, you heard Mari talk about how they were excited and they felt like their heart pumping at the end of that match. Well, we hooked them up to an EKG and we shipped them off to make sure that they're all right. So I'm here as a stand-in. My name is Hammy. I'm joined here still by Jason. And our next match up is going to be Colon 3 versus Bomeli Nomali.
Honestly, I'm just wondering whether I call them Colon 3 or Catface, because it is a Catface, right?
I am going to say Colon 3 because that is what they typed. I'm by the book. If they wanted to be called Catface, they would have put a cat emoji or something in there. I'm not giving them that benefit.
All right, let's step into our winners semi-finals. Of course, we've got some weekly regulars here in Bomeli Nomali. That is Bom, Ellie, Nom, and Ali. Very convenient that their name is just their names. And Colon 3 is, we've got Bobby and a few other names that I forgot to read because I'm a bit silly. I apologize. As we get into zones Maki for our game one, the 52 gal is going to try and put some early pressure on this top left side, not before they get caught immediately, and Bobby goes down on the right-hand side to the crab, and that's 2 down already as Bomeli Nomali, I believe the colors are switched. That is Bomeli Nomali on the yellow and Colon 3 on the blue.
Yes, the colors are indeed switched, but Bomeli Nomali do have control of the map right now. They are holding at that booyah, really just waiting for anyone from Colon 3 to take a step forward. They are now approaching the 60-point mark, which will increase the size of the map, giving Colon 3 a bit more space to come in here, especially with the crab tank. They will not be able to cap just yet, but they will walk forward, getting that neutral, getting those whales, applying some pressure, and breaking in here just a minute into the game.
Yep, minute underway, and finally a forward side of Catface. Ellie's gonna have to back away off the spread from the blaster, not before they go down. That's 3 down instantly, and Nom Nom's gonna try and salvage this, not only gonna get away with a trade. That's a big wipeout as Metro is setting up on this top left with this crab tank soon to come. As the blaster jumps in to try and work together with the splash to get things going, the crab is gonna come out. It's surely gonna be a lead for the side of Catface as they back away off of the pressure finally. Splashdown is going to be wasted. A big cancel from Bobby onto Bomb. That's a big money splat for the side of Colon 3. They're going to try and keep things alive. A bubble in front of the crab to keep things alive. This is brilliance from Bobby, keeping things in favor of Colon 3. Another flip to keep things going, but it looks like that Bomeli Nomali are finally going to keep things away and cap that zone.
Yes, they will manage to get back here into the zone. You can see that moment where they got the pick on the splashdown, and they kind of considered pushing that crab, but ultimately decided to play it a little bit safe there. But now looking to get this lead back as they're shuffling through this penalty. Bomeli Nomali just trying to just keep some space right now, letting Colon 3 burn their specials a little bit early, but getting shredded in their own booyah will give the numbers advantage and the map back to Colon 3 as they're looking for a wipeout. Ali trying to stay alive, will trade out as they go down, but Colon 3 sitting pretty here.
Yeah, big play from the 52 goal. Found the timing where the Stamper was stuck in the booyah, managing to get that early pick. Credit to them, and now they're going to hold the top right side, keeping Bobby away, who was causing, keeping the other blaster on the other team away, who was causing so many problems before. Might be able to bait out the splashdown if they're good at it enough, but it's finally going to come out, and Bobby is going to, off the jump in, keep things in favor of Colon 3. The crab coming out and pressure on for the side of Bomeli Nomali, but no, the crab's going to find 2, and it's just 1 in the zone, and only the pen left alive. I missed so much action happening as I was turning over my words, but it looks like Catface are going to be your Game 1 winners and going to go up very early in the set. Honestly, that was a pretty good showing. A lot of great individual play from Bobby to start things out, and I think the crabs from, I believe that is Sam, I'm not tripping, I'm going to check this in a second. But yeah, the splash doing a great job with those crabs, keeping up that pressure and soaking it all in and sort of dictating the pace and dictating the positions where Bomeli and friends were going to set up, and it made it really easy for the other members of Catface to sort of just clean up those fights so easily off of the chip.
Yeah, definitely. We did get to see Bobby from the side of Colon 3 doing a lot there, and, with getting some of those picks and, causing what I would like to call the most average blaster interaction I've ever seen. Both of the blasters just shooting each other on the islands. Neither of them killing each other, just getting a couple of indirects and then backing off, splash chatting, push each other away, kind of go back and forth. And then ultimately, yeah, Colon 3 able just to stall out there in that latter half of the game and just, you know, buy that space, buy the time, and just keep Bomeli Nomali away.
Yeah, I do apologize. I did get the members wrong. That is Nathan on Splash and not Sam. I remember looking at the bracket earlier, trying to find who was who, so I didn't mess up on the cast. But well, there we go. I've messed up on the cast. We're here now. But enough about that. On to the next map, TC Undertow. I think both teams have got good comps here. They're both running the pen on the back line. I think they'll both look pretty comfortable, but it will be on Bomeli Nomali to look how to adjust. I feel like they were playing too much into the distraction from Bobby's blaster there, and I feel like they should be playing more to push out on the opposite side of the map to Bobby, make Bobby cross the map to try and pick up the pieces. And I think if they play into this sort of playstyle, I think they'll have a better chance on tying this thing up at me.
Yeah, for sure. And now, something I want to point out too, I know you mentioned that both these teams are running the pencil, so they kind of have that long-range support, but just in general, both of these teams are running near identical comps. Both running a pencil, both running a blaster. Now, switching to the vanilla specifically, Bomb running the bubble version as well as Bobby, and both teams running a vanilla splash. The only difference is the Stamper versus now a Bucket, previously a 52 Gal. So, yeah, it's nice to see such similar comps, just to see the difference in their playstyles and how they approach this match.
Yeah, difference in playstyles already showing some early aggression from Bomeli Nomali, like we saw in the beginning. Not much change there, and sort of it's on Catface to sort of sit there and soak up the pressure. There's Bucket and the Sword stuck in a 1v1. It's going to be traded out in the end. Bubble out from the blaster on Bomeli, but a big bomb. They were stood outside of the bubble, and that caused the insta-death. Brilliant awareness and knowledge from Bob there to keep things in motion for the side of Catface. There's still a stalemate in the midfield. The picks left and right, but finally a big situation for Catface as they get 2 down. Bobby's going to go down. Only Ellie left alive for Bomeli, and finally, I don't think the jump was noticed, but finally, maybe Catface are going to get some aggression here. It's just Bomb keeping things alive on this left-hand side, but finally, I keep saying finally, but it feels like we were in that stalemate for years.
Yeah, Bomeli Nomali able to just hold that checkpoint as long as possible, but eventually when the entire team jumps back in, Colon 3 have to break that first checkpoint eventually. That first checkpoint on this map does not really accomplish very much. Now, here's the important part. Checkpoint 2 already going by the way of Colon 3, looking to get it right there in one clean swoop. Bomeli Nomali, no specials on the board to even contest it. Getting pushed back by the Crab, will get picked off actually by the Slotcher, and just a lot of picks coming in right now from Colon 3, just keeping them away, looking for aggression now, as this last checkpoint's pretty hard to get through unless you get players forward. But when you have players like Nom Nom walking forward with a Stamper, it will keep you down. The 3 players gone. Colon 3 looking for last checkpoint.
Yeah, and it's nice that they managed to find someone to get ahead of the tower and into the enemy spawn. You can see that the Bucket getting those strikes out to deny any chance of a retake happening. And there it is, 2-0 for Colon 3. The Cats look pretty good.
Yeah, no, Colon 3 just showing confidence, I think is the only word I can think of in how they're playing here. They're taking those steps forward. They're not afraid. They're getting the picks is I think the important thing. You know, looking at Bomeli Nomali, like in that opening, the aggressive positions they were taking, and you're seeing Nom Nom and that Stamper getting pushed right up and having that support from Bomb and Ali as well. But ultimately, Colon 3, the team that is able to just find the picks, to use their specials in positions that are forcing Bomeli Nomali to have to walk away from the tower. It's just, like I mentioned, the difference in play styles is really shining here, and it's showing, you know, just the caliber of the play.
Yeah, and I think Bomeli Nomali are struggling after they get this early aggression that it seems like Colon 3 aren't really ready for. They get this early aggression, they get these early picks, but they don't really move and try and drag the objective out off of that. They sort of sit there and try and soak up any other remaining pressure from the opposite side of the map. And I feel like what's causing them that loss is that they really need to sort of shift the objective a lot quicker than they are currently, because you've got the front lines playing at the super high pace, but I feel like the supporting pair aren't really playing up to that speed. And I think if all 4 of them were playing at such a high pace, that game could have gone a whole lot differently. I feel like they could have broken that first checkpoint and maybe pushed the second in mere seconds, and that even within that first minute of the game.
Yeah, for sure. And I like you point that out too, because you can kind of see, you know, when the spec cam is on Nom Nom or Bomb on the side of Bomeli No Mali, you're not really seeing that pressure coming in a lot of the time. But when we're spectating Bobby, or I'm not sure which his player's name is because their name is in Japanese. I think that would be Easy, I guess is their name.
Yes.
Yes, when we see them, you see the crab shots coming in from Metro, aka Nathan. Like, you're seeing the pressure, you're seeing the pen shots from Sarah. So that's kind of that difference, is that, yeah, you mentioned that the speed is not equal across the team on Bomeli No Mali, whereas Colon 3, the frontliners are playing a little bit slower, but the backlines and the supports are playing a little bit faster, and they're meeting each other in the middle.
Yeah. I think Bomeli No Mali will probably be looking to see which way they adjust the play. Do they make the front line slow it down a bit and play a more passive opening on this Rainmaker humpback? Or do we see them all just dive in forward? Maybe even disregard a fast caller and just go straight in? Because their backs against the wall they're down to, only a reverse sweep can save them in their winner's side run. Not much of a comp shift, but we've got the Crab Blaster coming out from Colon 3.
Yeah, no major differences either. And again, with a second Slosher has returned, and of course, yes, that new Blaster, which is the by far least played of the normal Blaster. So it's an interesting pick to see come in here. But when your team's up 2-0, it's a great time to try out a couple of new things. A crab battle will go the way of Colon 3. No players down, plus the sodas in hand. But the fight is not yet going the way of Bomeli No Mali, despite getting that soda buff. They're looking for a couple picks, but just not the fight they were really hoping for. But maybe the direct from Bomb will say otherwise as they grab the Rainmaker and hopefully get this checkpoint.
Yeah, a lot of forward pressure caused by Bomb's early pick. This Blast not going to find anything, but it still will secure the checkpoint for now, as Colon 3 look to make their getaway out of their spawn and into midfield here. Ovi's trying to get some pace with this bucket. It's a big combo play. They get the chip onto one, but the crab is going to be taken out from behind the pen, finding the weakness in the crab. And it looks like they're just going to try and grab to stall this. Colon 3, they managed to grab it, but they don't get it far enough. And it looks like a 3-down situation. They're going to get this grab, and because they've already broken the checkpoint, the 2 specials are going to come out, and they're going to push so far forward. Not before that bomb catches them. I thought maybe the advantage was there for Bomeli No Mali, but it was caught out at the last moment.
It's just in time to save that defense. 45 is a beatable number in this map relatively easily, so able to stave off any scary numbers there. They had a lot, not only the bomb, but just even the specials and the pressure from the players would have been able to try to keep them out. But now the reset back into mid. Bomeli No Mali looking to hopefully extend their push and, more importantly, keep Colon 3 away, because that checkpoint is still standing, and the longer that checkpoint is up, the more of a safety net they have. Because as you mentioned before, their backs are against the wall. They have no more wiggle room left in this set.
Yeah, despite that, they're playing this fairly well. And I would say 45 isn't a horrible lead, but they do have the checkpoint to fall back on in case things do go wrong. Nom Nom's going to find a pick early. He's going to find 2 picks, actually. That's big news for Bomeli No Mali. They can push into the midfield. The Pen's going to hold things down as much as they can. Another trade. Ellie finding the chip damage. The crab from Colon 3 to try and keep things safe in the midfield and keep things under neutral. It's going to buy time for their teammates to get back in, but poking up all this pressure is Bomeli No Mali. They kind of just waited at the crab before they release one of their own. I'm liking this Hammy. They're playing this a lot more safe, a lot more chill. They've got the lead. They know they don't need to push any further unless they get a full wipeout.
Yeah, and this is definitely the position that you want to put yourself in if you're trying to slow yourselves down. Give yourselves the advantage, and so you can stay on the defense. And they're trying to move this Rainmaker now, waiting for the perfect opportunity for Colon 3 to be so focused on one side of the map, you can slip the Rainmaker through the other. That's exactly what you want to see. Didn't get them as many points as they might have hoped in a clutch play like that, but more points is still good points. Now, the most important part, can they defend this Rainmaker here? They need to keep this corner, because Colon 3, they're looking to make a push and actually get some points on the board because we're running out of time.
Yeah, running out of time. I want to point out that play from Bob there at the end there, as the Rainmaker's running through. That's like, honestly, like a pretty cool niche for the beacon there, finding another pick there. But yeah, like jumping back as the Rainmaker was passing by, getting the direct, stopping that push from getting any further. Honestly, pretty cool. A pretty nice set play from Bob to keep things in, to keep them in this game and potentially go for that 3-0. But they are still set on 82 and still no checkpoint. And as you say, time is running low. Mid control seems to be in favor for many Normali. I'll happily sit here in this midfield, but not like that when they're getting 2v1, the bucket trying to push forward and get another. Nom Nom's going to go down. Ellie is forced to back away, opening up so much space. It's just a splash on the pen on Bromeli Normali. Try and secure this checkpoint. Yeah, and it's a clean check. They could be in trouble here. Hammy, they could be in a bit of a pickle.
It's a bit of an awkward spot for Bromeli Normali, but they're able to get the picks. We have the aura coming in from Bomb, is able to walk in and also grab the soda to top off their power here. They have a splashdown ready to go up in the corner, but they don't even need it. They're just trying to ledge camp here and keep players away. This is what I talked about. Sure, they lost that checkpoint, but they stalled for 4 minutes, and now they've put Colon 3 in an even worse position than they were just a minute ago. Already getting more points on the board. They're going to go down, but they think they still have the soda buff, so they might be back pretty quick unless it may have just expired. But regardless, 20 seconds left. Colon 3 got to push to 16, and they've got probably one chance here. If Sarah goes down with this Rainmaker, that might just be it.
Yeah, they put one crab up, both crabs up, Tool, crab wielding, and Bomb is going to manage to get away off of the pressure. Big jump out, although they've conceded a lot of space. But this flank from Nom Nom is going to try and stop this from happening. Not before the picks in front. Save the game and end the set. The flank came in too late, and the push forward off of the double crab, and they just straight up walked into them and shot them dead. And Colon 3, Catface, and friends are going to be your winner semi winners, and are going to make their way into that winners final, securing themselves at least a top 3.
That is such an unfortunate feeling that Nomnon has to be feeling there. Getting in position for the flank, like being ready to cut off that Rainmaker and surprise them, but then the team going down at like the worst possible moment, allowing the Rainmaker to just outpace you and keep running and make it all the way across. You know, sending a player to be the nail in the coffin and then finding out that no one's even in the coffin. They've already ran away.
Yeah, it looked like the Colon 3 were out, but honestly, it was just a really, really cool push that we saw. The double crabs from, like, honestly, both pressure points on the map was really awesome to see how they just encased the members of Bromeli Normali on their plat and suffocated them and just slowly chipped away at what they had left. And Bromeli Normali really didn't have anything to fight back with. They only had the solo crab, but by the time it came out, it was too late. The members of Colon 3 were already in and ready to take the picks, and of course Nom Nom tried to find that timing and was too little too late. That will wrap it up for our winners semi-final. We'll be back with winners finals very shortly. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back soon.
Welcome back, everybody, to Paddling Pool. I hope you all enjoyed your nap. We had to wait for a reverse sweep to happen on the other side of the bracket, but we are now here. Colon 3 will be taking on Easy MD, who just had to fight to take Tascete down into the losers bracket. So we are now here in winners finals. Not too much left of Paddling Pool, so make sure I'm assuming in that 30-minute break you've managed to get your popcorn and get ready, because we've got a couple of tight sets coming for you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. EaseMD, slight scare as we were sitting and waiting for the result of that. They were down 0-2 to Tascete. You thought that maybe it might have been a different story that we would be writing at this very moment, but no, they're fine. They're fine. Just a minor jump scare. But yeah, of course, on one side we had the reverse sweep that EaseMD had to pull out in order to make it here, but we have to remember that Colon 3 had so much momentum from their previous winners semi set against Bomeli Nomali. We're looking to see how they shape up this time, because honestly they've got a very tough task. It is the top seed, the top dog, very, very frequent weekly winners, and of course one of the favorites to win Looty Division X this season. Isn't that right, Hammy?
Yeah, for sure. Now, also, I want to point out, too, Jason, you brought up momentum, and Colon 3 did have the momentum of winning that set, but they also just had to wait 30 minutes in between matches, whereas EasyMD is coming straight off of a reverse sweep, and there's going to be a disconnect, so we're going to have an even longer waiting period here as we get our players back into the lobby. So let's take some time to talk about the maps we're going to see in this best of 5, because I am looking at some of these pictures, and I have some questions.
What the hell is going on in zones? What on earth? I really could not understand. Maybe that they just want to have Devin assert their dominance on that zone's eel tail. But goodness me, it's the game of who can cap the uncappable zone, the game, pretty much.
Yeah, that zone's eel tail may very well just be a Devin pick. Whether Devin was the one who said, hey, what if he played here so I can play leader? Or if the whole team just said, where should we go? Where can we just make sure one person will just be unkillable at all times? But even before that, Clam Blitz Museum, not a common map pick, but not usually the starter of a set. I mean, most of the broadcasts I'm a part of are still zones first, like the tried and true method. So seeing Clam's Museum to start off a set here in winners bracket finals I think it's going to be an interesting one, because it's going to require a lot of coordination and a lot of just ability to really get in. And like I said, Colon 3, they might have gotten iced out, so it might give EasyMD a bit of an advantage here, on top of them already being the #1 seed and a contender in Division X of Looty this season.
Absolutely. Honestly, I'm looking at this map pool. Besides the Eeltail pick, they've got Crab Lake set up for Rainmaker as well. So even if they do end up dropping games, EaseMD always have a sort of fail-safe going into the next rounds. But honestly, looking at what Colon 3 might have to offer, this definitely isn't a horrible map list for them. If they can win this first game, they might have a very rough time on Zone's Eeltail, but honestly, looking at Tower Mako and Clam's Umami, I really think that if they can pick up points on these maps, they have a really good chance of taking this set, Hammy.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. We've already seen Colon 3's ability to play. You know, we've seen a lot of just smart decisions from the team. We've seen the synergy. We know what they're capable of. It now is just the question of how are they going to stack against EasyMD? You know, they're just kind of the barrier here. It's just we all know how strong EasyMD is going to be. Again, they're a Division X team. They're the #1 seed. They're very well-known players. You got Devin, Silver, Phoenix, and Kiki. So it's just how are they going to stack up here? I think that they're definitely gonna have a rough time. I'm not expecting this to be an easy sweep, no problem, especially where EasyMD did just go to a game 5 against Tascete.
Yeah, they did in fact go the distance in that previous set. And finally, we're gonna get ourselves tucked into this winners finale. Clam Blitz Museum is where we're starting off, and we're gonna have hopefully, if we get to the game itself, we can see, there we go, what comps each team is running. Back to normal for EaseMD. They were playing some odd picks in their previous set, but they've settled on their bread and butter, and we've got a pen rapid composition coming out from from Colon 3. Typically we saw Easy On playing those buckets, but not today.
Yeah, it is an interesting pick from Colon 3 to bring out the Rapid Blaster Pro Deco, especially alongside another backliner. Traditionally, you like to see some of those closer range weapons that can combine with the chip, but maybe like it is a functional strategy if they're able to make it work against a team like EZMD, but that's really the big question here. We do have Devin getting those picks on the leader. As we all know, they will. EZMD with the numbers advantage, but not quite a full paint advantage. The Crab was going to help them get some paint, but will actually get taken down as Metro goes down. So EZMD still with these numbers, we're not really seeing them get picked off too frequently, and they're just not giving up their grip on this map.
Yeah, they're not giving up the pressure on this map. They have Devin set up on this top mid, just sitting on this right hand side, waiting for the zip cast to come out after the missiles move ahead. There's a big pick from Phoenix onto the first player. The splash is going down. It's no crab tank. The whale forced out from the Rapid to try and keep things alive, and it's managing to get a trade, but not enough because they're moving forward. Hang on, Bobby's on the flank. I just realized Bobby's is playing pro because they're flexing onto this Rapid. I'm wondering like how they might sort of fix this gap that they have if Bobby's not on the normal blasters, but it seems like they might be okay. Stopped at 74 is the final total for this push for EZMD.
Yes, that is where there's going to stop, but they have a Sharking Blaster trying to see if anyone from Colon 3 overextends, but the Crab will come out from Metro, which will give a little bit of range pressure for the team to break out of their own half here, but they're still going to get some paint down on the ground. We've yet to really see this map turn a nice bluish purple shade if you're a fan of Colon 3. ECMD just continuing to keep up the pressure even when it seems like they're getting pushed out, even when it seems like they're on a bit of a back foot, and just like seeing like the ability to jump out right there, walking into a fight, seeing enemy ink come from an off angle and say, no, I'm out of here, see you later. It's just they're here to play.
Yeah, it's great reactions from the side of EZMD, but it looks like things are still going to be midfield covered in yellow for the time being. A bubble going to be put up on this right hand side. It is a bit deep, and Silver's taking a fight on this left hand side that's going to result in their death. So it's going to force EZMD to back away a bit. The missiles as well, moving them even further back. They've got a crap tank to play with, have Colon 3. But one does go down on this left-hand side at the hands of Devin. More pressure is being put on by the Zap. I think Kiki's trying to make some space here and honestly go for an early push into another score, onto the pressure, onto the pen, managing to find the pick, and they're trying to scramble back. Colon 3 only managed to find the trade, but they do keep things quiet for now. One pick, but Devin's got in off the flank to get more clams in. I thought the push was dead, but it's still well and truly alive for EZMD.
Yeah, they're keeping this basket open, just slow playing some of those clamps, and now it's just Devin who will promptly jump out, recognizing that it's not worth trying to fight that in that scenario. You've already gotten the points you want. You know, you get back, you regroup for the team, and just continue to be that backbone. Now, Colon 3, 2 power clams in their hands with a couple extra clams in the pockets just for good measure, but they need to get in here. They can't really get through this ramp. They actually do manage to break through just one. It was just Bobby, but will get traded out for the break. It's a couple points on the board, but it's not exactly what they're looking for. They really need some of those decisive picks like they're seeing now with 2 players down, but ultimately they can't really walk forward. Even just with 1 player alive, EZMD is able to chase them away.
Yeah, they're definitely feeling very rushed. Colon 3 felt like that after the 1 pick onto Silver, they just had to beeline for the basket, but it wasn't the play because the blaster was shocking on Spinner. They really need to clear this blaster as Phoenix is going on a tear. He's going on a complete tear, taking out all 3 members in front of him and going for more. Finally traded out, but that's going to open the floor for EZMD to get more scores in. Itzy scored and extra clams to go with Hammy. It looks like the EZMD might just be taking this game 1 as Phoenix again. Multiple picks, left, right, and center. He's all over the map and all over the scoreboard, all over the kill feed. He's just that good, Hammy.
Yeah, you can see at the end there, the big bubbler with the soda inside of it. ECMD are just setting up for a camping trip. You know, this is business as usual for them. They don't seem very concerned at all just in the way that they are playing these matches, able to get those picks, able to get those decisive positions, able just to knock out in a map where the objective is so linear. You know, sure, there's the cut, the block that you're able to jump across on Museum Clams, but for the most part, it's just pushing straight from that ramp right across the plat, and that's how EasyMD did it. They just did it time and time again. We're able to just walk straight through, shut down Colon 3, and just break the basket open.
Yeah, and now, honestly, the map list, or at least at this point now, is playing into their hands, because we've got a really, really tall task for Colon 3 to sort of work around this odd map pick that they might not be used to playing, used to scrimming, practicing. It feels like EasyMD have, they've worked this map out because they know they can just put Devin wherever the hell they want on the map, and he's guaranteed to find you a pick. And I feel like they're just going to be very comfortable in here, and then almost feels like, I don't want to count out Colon 3 on this game specifically, but we're probably looking at a 2-0 EasyMD already.
Yeah, you're saying you don't want to count a Colon 3 out. I think I'm the opposite. This is the Torment Nexus. I would love to see Colon 3 win this game. Genuinely, like, if they're able to come in and win this game, that'll be a huge story. But like, they've got to prove it to me here. I'm gonna be a doubter. I'm gonna be the devil's advocate here, and like, this is probably a guaranteed EasyMD win unless Colon 3 can dig deep and find something. Because they tried weird stuff in that first match. Those were different weapons that we've seen them playing earlier. We were talking about how well they were able to play with some of their weapons, and they brought out the Frozen Pro. They brought out the RPBD. So now I'm just curious to see what Colon 3 is going to try to do here.
Yeah, I think it was really cool that despite the change in weapon, Bob was still going on those, like, honestly, it was perma-flanking throughout the entire game. Opened up so much space in the mid for the members of Colon 3 to get forward, but he's going to have to do it again. Obviously, this mid fight is really, really difficult, but actually, Devin's got on the heavy Splatling, and there's the Lita, but it's on the team you wouldn't expect it to be on. Hold the phone.
You know what? Maybe I just said it was they had to come with a plan, and there is the plan: switching to a leader of your own. Whereas Devin 4K not even bringing the weapon, so maybe having an alternate strategy. This is a very underplayed map in competitive Splatoon. So whether or not these are practice strategies or if they're just trying something, I mean, for EasyMD, this is their map pick, I believe. So they should have an idea here of what this comp is going to accomplish. But regardless, they are in control of the map, maybe utilizing the higher paint from Heavy after this most recent patch in the very large, incomprehensible zone on this map.
Yep, the very large zone that is eventually going to be flipped by the side of Colon 3, and this is good actually. They managed to get some picks, they managed to keep the members of EasyMD off the zone to start things off, and they're going to probably take the lead here, judging by how much paint you need just to pop on the zone, even to even neutral it. Zip's going to beeline straight for the lead to Silver, trying to find anything lead in the favor of Colon 3, but the Zip's not going to be able to find any picks. They do get away with their life, so it's not the end of the world per se, as the Blaster is trying to get a trade, managing to find one. Paint being put down on the map for the side of EasyMD. They should be able to get a flip here. It's just the Gal on the left-hand side. Easy is trying to stay alive, trying to keep the attention of the members, managing to find a pick, but only traded out very quickly by the Zap.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to point out too, you mentioned Silver on the Zip wasn't able to get any picks, but that's kind of Silver's job here. Zip straight at the E-Leader, make sure the E-Leader can't do what it wants to do on a map like Eeltail, and then suddenly EasyMD have the easiest 3v3 of their lives. So it's a very important part of the composition, because they have the Zap, they have the Heavy, so they have that great paint, and of course they have the S-Blast to be able to get those picks in the zone itself, utilizing all the cover there in the angles. Already 30 ticks remaining for EasyMD to get this game. They have a couple of players up in the man advantage. 20 ticks left. Jason, this just might be their game right here.
Yeah, 20 ticks left, and it's looking too little too late. And one pick off the trade. Easy trying to keep things alive, but yeah, it's over at this point. They can't make it to the zone, not even gonna give them a look at it. EasyMD will be on match point.
Yeah, and I think it's really funny that we've ended up at the same answer about the wrong equation. We said it was going to be a fairly easy game for EasyMD. Didn't expect the Heavy pick. Didn't expect the E-Leader from Colon 3. But regardless, here we are. Like I said, the buffs to Heavy Splatling, being able to paint more, it seems like it made it a more enticing option for a map with such a large zone. It's something I never think about because I play a lot of paint heavy weapons, so usually the teams that I play with they don't need the supplemental paint there, but the end zap and heavy combo just showing that they just have to paint the zone. They're a team that are confident enough to get the picks and to fight, so they just needed to cover their bases with the paint.
Yeah, and they had a pretty good look at the start of that game. Despite ESMD only getting to about 70 points, they still managed to flip and push them away. You'd think that maybe they had something to try and clear more space forward. They kind of just sat there and tried to absorb the sort of retake pressure that ESMD were applying, and it didn't really work out for them. I feel like against a heavy Splatling, they should have been trying to isolate fights against... or isolate fights in places where the heavy can't reach, because that Leech has got so much more range and can apply so much more pressure from literally across the map. But with the heavy, you think that there's a bit of a weakness in that regard.
Yeah, for sure. And now, looking forward here, we're going to Mako Tower. EZMD is on set point, so Colon 3, if they don't want to go down to the losers bracket and have to fight their way back up here into the grand finals, they're going to need to really hope they're a fan of these next 3 maps. But TC Mako, I don't even know what to expect anymore. The weapon picks from game 2 threw me off, and even the weapon picks from Colon 3 in game 1 kind of threw me off. So what do you think here, Jason? Do you think we're going to see some of the returns of the earlier weapons from Colon 3 in the last set? Do you think we're going to be seeing something even new? What about in EZMD? Are they going to stick to form, or are they going to play around a bit now that they're up 2 games?
I think for Colon 3, I definitely want to see Bob back on that blaster. They definitely had some good looks in that previous game, but this is definitely a much better situation for a blaster player to be on Mako. I think the rest of the members of Colon 3 might stick around. I want to see Easy back on that bucket that we saw before in previous sets. I think for TC, I think Devin will be happy to play that later. Hold on, whoa! I mean, I give up, man.
You know what? I did ask, is EZMD gonna play around now that they're up 2? And lo and behold, we have triple blaster comp, specifically 2 Rapid Blaster Pro Decos, and already working in their favor as they're just chipping away Colon 3, sending 2 down, making them back up, losing a couple members of their own. But Colon 3 recognizing that they need to fight with this. We have Metro on this splash, pushing up and just taking the fight to the blasters, because that's the downfall of EZMD here. If Colon 3 can get with closer than their indirect range, they have the tactical advantage.
Yeah, and they're just in the spawn. They're gonna spawn lock these guys, honestly. They just keep going forward again and again, making sure the Rapids don't get a sightline. Wales watching the 52. He's gonna tuck under this bottom right place, trying to grab the attention of the S-Blast, to finally get put down, but on a trade at that. And looks like Silver's gonna get put down as well. Gobi is gonna get traded out. It's just a pen dragging this tower out with a crab to cover. It's looking so good from Colon 3. A bit of overconfidence from ESMD is gonna cost them potentially this game immediately. Yeah, would you look at that? It's over.
Yeah, EZMD may have flown a little too close to the sun with that comp, but then again, that's the first win for Colon 3. I don't think this is going to be a momentum shift necessarily. This isn't going to be the moment where Colon 3 decide, yeah, we can do it, we can win, guys, and EZMD is not distraught about this loss. They went, hey, let's try something funny. Didn't work out. I'm gonna hope that EZMD are gonna play their normal weapons in this match and not just rely on the Game 5 win. So, but this could be the momentum that Colon 3 needs. But if I was in their shoes, I wouldn't get over excited about being able to win against whatever comp EZMD just pulled out.
Yeah, they're definitely going to stay grounded here. They realized that they were just being toyed with, and yep, instantly recognized the game plan, instantly executed. A brilliant mid-game adaptation, not being thrown off by the randomness that EZMD threw out. And yeah, this is the question. Are we hopefully going to see EZMD go back to normality and close out this set, or are they going to continue playing around and seeing if they can find something to finally break Colon 3 in a completely unprecedented fashion?
Yeah, you see, I think what doubles up in the downfall there, too, was that I'm looking back, both of the Rapid Blaster Pro Decos had an opening gambit as well, which I think didn't bode well either in the opening, just because Colon 3 was able to recognize the situation they're in and take advantage of it. But yeah, going to Rainmaker Scorch Gorge, another not as common map mode. Like, it's not like it's not in competitive map pools, but it's usually not the go-to Rainmaker mode for a lot of teams. So I actually should have checked whose pick this was, But regardless, Team 1, yeah, so this is EZMD's pick coming up. So this is one where they very well just may have a strategy similar to Game 2 that they're just going to implement and just walk straight through this match.
Yeah, still match point for EZMD as we head over to Rainmaker on Crablet Capital. Gonna see, is there a change? Okay, all right. Keep pushing your agenda, EZMD. We'll see if it pays off eventually. That is all 3 types of Rapid Blasters on my screen.
You know what? EZMD recognized what they did wrong last game. They didn't have enough Rapid Blaster Pro Decos. They had another blaster and they had a different weapon altogether, and that was the problem they ran into. EZMD will get wiped out. Colon3 taking full advantage of the situation, going up and getting that first checkpoint. Now here's a question. Can they cross the grates with 4 Rapid Blasters shooting at you? That sounds like a nightmare.
Well, that and 10 question science still can't answer because they're trying to get in. Bobby's getting in behind finally, managing to find one, and well, there's your answer. If you just kill the 4 Rapid Blasters, there won't be a problem. Although they only get to 36, so maybe there's still a chance for EZMD to win with this crazy-ass comp.
EZMD with the first numbers advantage of the game will get the pick on Bobby jumping in as well, starting to clean up their own half. They also lack any substantial paint, which is going to be a little bit of a problem, that even when they do get the picks and get the numbers advantage, they ultimately don't really have the resources to gain control back before Colon3 can just jump straight back in, especially with a comp that has Soda, so they're likely to die and come back very, very quickly.
Here's what I feel like the win condition here for EZMD is just, as long as they keep the back rapid alive, they can just constantly fight, because there's no direct counter for that back besides the whale, and I feel like the whale isn't super consistent at dealing with back, and there might be a chance here, not if the back rapid does go down. That's 2 down again, and I feel like the rest of this game is just going to be EZMD struggling to fight the mid, and Colon3 exploding them the moment they try and step that foot even anywhere close to where they want to go.
Yeah, that's probably where we're going to be at, just a very awkward stalemate where the Rainmaker can't move because of all the chip damage, but what are you really going to accomplish with the quad rapid? It's the only way that EZMD take this game is if they get a wipe or enough players down and just keep a stagger or just get back-to-back wipeouts. They need extra time to paint and to move this Rainmaker than most other comps would, so they need to compensate that for the number of picks at crucial moments that they're able to get.
Yeah, and they did almost have a moment there. They managed to get 3 members of Colon3 down. It was just the Splash left alive. Unfortunately, the Rainmaker was stuck in no man's land, so it took them ages to clear it out. But hold on a minute. One Rapid is going crazy. A double kill in crazy show of mechanics at close quarters. And wait, they're breaking the check. They're running over the checkpoint. There might be a chance. They do get traded out, but there might be just a silver lining perhaps for this godforsaken comp. But no, sorry, as I say that, the 52 Easy is going to get rid of Easy MB members just like that. Bubble goes up to shut down the Rapid on the top right.
Oh.
Although does more again. Not the first time we've seen someone whip their bubble today. But still, a bit of an unfortunate. It looks like it's just too rough. They really, really can't get out of this unscathed EZMD. They're trying what they might. They're just dropping in, hoping that they can get some kind of miracle heroics that we saw before, but it's just not to be.
Yeah, we're at a point right now where theoreticals in this game have gone out the window at this point. We can't say anything for sure till it happens. We saw Colon3 get a couple more points. Will they be able to grab this Rainmaker? There's a chance that it's impossible. There's a chance they do it by the time I'm finished this sentence. There's really no way of knowing. Just when you have a comp like this, it throws a lot of the logistics of Splatoon out the window. Yes, they will manage to slide in and grab that Rainmaker, move it to 6, but EZMD is still able to prevent that from happening. So we're stuck here for at least another minute as they just continue to try to find a way out, but ultimately nothing, no ideas are floating around here.
Yep. No ideas flowing. The door is being slammed shut on this top right part of the map. The pen will go down. Unfortunately, they can't grab the Rainmaker in time before it resets. This might be an opportunity for EZMD. If they didn't catch the shot from Bob behind them, they're still trying to fight forward, and they managed to build the splash, but I think they still haven't found Bobby's position yet. I don't know if he's still hanging around behind them, or if he's decided to play with the rest of the team up front. And no, I don't think so. I really don't know where he's gone, but what's happening? Oh, and well, there he is. Finally showing himself, managing to find the trade. Yeah, 30 seconds left. Rainmaker stalling protocols from Metro, aka Nathan. I think it's all too little too late. I said that once already, but there really is no way that EasyMD can find a way back in, surely.
We said it was too little too late about 4 minutes ago at this point. EasyMD, with 10 seconds left, are going to make a valiant overtime effort here, but they do have a vac ready. This is the furthest they've pushed up this entire game. The vac is out. They're walking through. Was this just bait to make us watch a 5-minute game for nothing as they're able to make it through? But the bubble will block them. It's just the Pen player left. They're trying to get the pick, but they're unable to because they got body blocked by 3 other Rapids. They squidball. They take the lead. Oh my god. EasyMD managed to win that game in overtime just to make sure that we're as miserable as possible.
The moment they needed the ink back, the Gal didn't have the whale at the ready. A perfect opportunity for them just to pop it and just walk forward. And they did a great job of baiting in the members of Colon 3 one at a time. And well, you were right. They needed 4 Rapids and not 3. Or not 3 blasters. 4 Rapids was the answer. Sometimes you look at what EasyMD pull out, and it's a miracle that they won that game. Honestly, Metro and friends were in full control for a lot of that. I still can't believe they managed to win that game. Like, how? Literally how?
I need to ask, do you think EasyMD planned this ahead of time when they picked Rainmaker Crableg? They were like, hey, we're going to pick Rainmaker Crableg specifically so we can bring 4 Rapid Blasters.
Honestly, I don't know, because as an analyst, you're looking at this and like, yeah, they're just picking the good Lita maps. No, they're just picking the maps where they can pull out whatever random chaos they can throw at you and make us sit here and cry about it and try and figure out what's going on in their heads, because we never will. We'll never understand what's going on in their heads because they won with it. Like, genuinely, they've got a different kind of game plan that normal Splatoon players just won't be able to fathom.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer here that this is a crash out game. One of the players of EasyMD had to play against a Rapid Blaster on this map and then hated it so much that they got the rest of the team to all just play Rapid Blasters here and make someone else suffer 4 times as much as they had to in a previous game of Open. But I think the funny thing is too that looking at EasyMD, it's interesting to see the level of knowledge, because sure, they played 4 Rapids, but they still played 4 Rapids in a way that their comp makes sense in terms of the specials and the subs. And they also built differently. Like, we had 2 of them running Opening Gambit to try to start getting some of those assists with the chip and just getting picks early in general to keep the momentum up, as well as one of them running Tenacity, and specifically it being Devin, of course, because Devin, as a backliner, is expecting the rest of them to all just die immediately. And so having that ability to get those quick whales, like, there's a weird level of, like, preparation put into even a meme comp from the side of EasyMD, and able to take the win is just kind of the cherry on top.
Yeah. And that just goes to show the experience of these players, the knowledge that they have that sets them apart from everyone else in the competition. Obviously, they've just shown why they are the Seed 1. They can run wacky stuff and still win.
Now, that is the end of that game. We are getting through the event here. I believe we're going to be going down to Losers Bracket Finals next, because Loser Bracket Semis is already underway. I think this also is the end of our time on the mic here. Am I getting kicked off? I think they realize that I'm just an imposter who snuck in here, and they're trying to get rid of me.
Yeah, it might be time up. I guess we'll start do a quick shout out, quick promos, Hammy. If we want to follow you anywhere or watch you play anywhere, where can we find you?
You can find me basically everywhere on the internet at Hammy in the Wall. Most actively and probably importantly, you'll find me on Blue Sky at hitw.inc. I do all kinds of commentary. I play the game, just a whole lot of Splatoon based stuff. If you haven't heard of me already, you'll find me around. What about you, Jason?
Yeah, unfortunately, the JS0 end got stolen, so I had to substitute a 1. You can find me there on Blue Sky. I also stream on Twitch occasionally for our looty runs and some other fun shenanigans that happen. For example, particularly within the UK scene, a lot of UK tournaments. If anyone is watching from the UK and you want to get involved with those, please hit me up on Blue Sky or hit me up on my Twitch streams. I would greatly appreciate that. Well, that will do it for now, Hammy. I was been an absolute pleasure casting with you. We are going to disappear, never to be seen again. I think that's what we were told. So yeah, you're never going to see us ever again. But please do stick around because paddling pool is still going. So we'll cut off to a quick break, and you'll see some different people. Let us in. Alright, welcome back to Paddling Pool 359. I am Pat here with Matt, ready to watch the low bracket finals of this incredible tournament. We've seen pretty much everything so far, but we have more to watch. It's going to be column 3 that we just saw having to face Bomeli Nomady to get the second spot in grand finals, Matt.
And we are starting right away here on Splat Zones Mahi Mahi. Starting off, we see some pretty interesting cups. I've actually seen this Booyah Bomb Stamper being used a little bit more recently. And we do see the Blaster coming out from Bomeli here. Both teams rushing immediately for that zone there. The gal's gonna get taken out there immediately by that Blaster before getting that trade-off. 2 down on the side of Bomeli, and Colon 3 is able to take immediate control over that zone.
Yeah, actually, Bomeli is in yellow. We have our colors mixed up as column 3 is pushing back in blue, retaking control of the zone. Both of these teams still trying to fight. The map is still a whole way. We still have this very tense fight for mid here. The colors are fixed now as column 3 has their control, has their presence, and are looking to make the water drop.
And right here, we might see it here, down into the 60, but the splash shot going to come in, completely covering the zone, but the water does go down there just in time there. 3 down on the side of Colon 3, and Bomeli has complete control over mid there. They have that Booyah Bomb ready for defense, and they also have that Gravity, so they are ready to defend here. There goes that Cooler, there goes that Crab there. Another jump down, but whoa! He somehow survives a blank stamper to the face. 3 down again on the side of Colon face, and Bomeli has taken the lead as the members of Colon 3 really have to respond and get ready for this comeback.
Yeah, and here comes the Booyah Bomb to maintain the defense. The Bobbler, useless, is actually bait for that Booyah. Bomeli Nomady not stopping the onslaught. They are keeping that zone, and Column 3 still struggling to get back in. They lost their pencil. Will they be able to paint forward? They get 2 splats, but can they get the zone? There isn't much time.
And they really need a fight for that, and they do get that zone here. And the members of Bomeli are being forced to back up here. Stamper's going to be going down there. There goes that whale out. Almost getting another pick here on that side. The Blaster making sure nobody drops on that left side is going to be crucial if they want to get some points here. But now that their penalty is officially out, they're going to start getting some points here. But the members of Bomeli are with a sneaky double, and with that bubbler, completely stopping Bomeli's push here. Members going on their flat there, but we do see one go down.
Yeah, and right there, Column 3 playing very well around the map, using the cooler to super jump left and right. That won't be enough, though. Bomeli are able to repaint the zone, but we're only halfway through the game, and Column 3 is already back in control. They will get the jumps back in.
Right here. We got a 30 penalty on the line there. Peg goes down there, but we do see actually 3 down on the side of Column 3, and the members of Bomeli really want to push up here. Can they find the pick? They are able to find the pick, and they can get the jump to get up there, but they do get a trade from that jump there, and Bomeli trying to move in there with that pen, solely painting that zone for that control, but the members of Colon 3 are back on the zone. They want to get control, but it's just that Blaster there, and the Crab is going to completely paint over.
Ooh! And Bomeli this time, not only do they get the penalty on, they retake control of the map. And both of these teams have shown us that when they are in control, when they have the paint around, that's where they are the most dangerous. And look at that! Forced to jump out, Column 3 not able to get the way back in. And Bomeli are holding the Booyah to simply delay a bit more, and are punishing everybody for going in.
We see this gal here trying to make quick work. The Crab coming in for the board, but it's not enough there. The Stamper doing whatever they can to keep the members of Colon 3 out here. They get another pick, going for that pen. They get the pen as well, and with the penalty over, just 5 ticks away, and they're able to paint the zone and get another one. And that is a KO for Bomeli. A super strong start for this set.
Yeah, incredible opening, beautiful ending by the Stamper right there. Nom Nom really cleaning up, finding and killing everybody in sight.
Great game one by Bomeli Nomali, but it's only game one of a best of 5. We still have much, much more to show, Matt.
Yeah, and I mean, Colon 3, they got down to 25. They got pretty far into that game there. And immediately, I mean, at the beginning of the match, they were able to gain a decent amount of control as well. So, Colon 3, they have to go into this next match in mind that they were able to get very far on their first push here, but now going into Crab Leg, it's gonna be a little bit of a different approach here. Those pens are gonna be even more useful on this map, so both teams are really gonna have to take full advantage of that. But it's really up to these teams to see if they can make some small pushes and just teeter that score down, or if they're just going to make one huge score and then defend the rest of the game there, because I've seen teams do that a lot recently. But seeing that both of these teams were able to get pretty far down on this first match, it's really going to be unpredictable to say who can get a huge push and who's going to really be back-to-back with these pushes.
Yeah, Matt, what we saw of the previous game was both teams, when they were in control, when they had their ground, making it very hard for the other team to push in. In Clam Blitz, on Crab Leg, if you are next to your basket, if you are paying attention, you can hold that spot. And it's very, very hard to push in. And as both of these teams have shown us their ability to really hold ground, that's going to be put to the absolute test. These teams are going to need to bring the tools to push in this time if they want to get to the basket.
Yeah, but I mean, we're going right into this match here. And really, it's going to be hard to tell who can get this first push online, because both of those teams in the first game were able to immediately push that zone and gain control here. So is the question, who's going to be first here?
Well, we're about to find out, as both teams have very, very similar comps. Not exactly the same kits, but it's the same main weapons right there, with of course the pencil and the crab splash in charge of the Bane, in charge of the zone control. And right there, already, Bomeli Nomali riding the momentum, riding the confidence, getting splats and getting clams.
I mean, these blasters have really just been applying so much pressure here. When we do see this flank from Bomeli here, there goes that splashdown. They are able to barely take up the blaster, but with one going down there, they aren't able to get this push online here. But the Crab completely, from Colon 3, completely backing them up, allowing more space for their teammates to rush into mid and gain as much control here. And Bomeli is on the back end of it, now that they have a little bit less start there. But with the Stamper going down, they're going to be losing a lot of their aggression. Blaster up in their plat, trying to get a pick there, but they go down as well. That's 2 down on the side of Colon 3, and this is a chance for Bomeli to really push up.
Yeah. But we're still in a fight for mid. The Tacticular has been deployed. Bomeli using a lot of explosions right there to really make sure mid is theirs. But they didn't win the fight. They didn't win the fight, and they could lose that Super Clam. They're able to save it. But Colon 3 is still very much in this fight. Colon 3 has the presence. Now they need to grab the clams before they can move forward.
They have control over mid. They need to get some more clams if they want to form a push there. They have a few, but their Stamper going to be going down. That's going to be crucial as the members of Bomeli, they're throwing that Booyah Bomb in, trying to back the members of Colon 3 up there. They have that... They have the Tacticular online there, but one going down the side of Bomeli. And we're just seeing these trades back and forth there. And this fight for mid is going to be a huge deciding factor on who's going to get this first push.
Yeah, right now, Column 3 has a Super Clam, but all of Bomeli is back in action. More splashdowns coming, more fights for mid. The Crab tank is ready, but the Crab will not allow Column 3 to get too much yet. The Mini Bobbler is in the right spot to allow them to keep control over mid. The Crab will pummel the basket area, but they didn't throw the Super Clam away. The Crab is holding the Super Clam, they can't go in.
And we see here, they're throwing those bombs. They're trying to shift damage away from that Stamper. They are able to get the first clam starting here. Colon 3 has the first clams out of the match, but it's only down to 77 as 2 of them go down there. But actually more on the side here, down to 62. So Colon 3 was able to get somewhat of a push out of there, but Bomeli is quickly moving up into mid. They have multiple picks, and they have the control that they need. They're going to take full advantage of this. They're immediately washing up there. One goes down, but they are able to get a clam in down to 80, but I don't think they're going to get much in here after.
And opening the basket, just to open the basket, especially when your opponent keeps the lead, it's costing you. It could cost you right there. Bomeli needs more than that. They have the super clams. They have the clams to get the points back, but they don't have enough paint. They don't have enough control, and Column 3 is establishing themselves. Is pushing Bomeli out of mid. Bomeli has been moving back more and more and just giving ground to Column 3.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult for Bomeli to push going further here. They have just about a minute remaining, but they do see that sniper going down there. They have to take advantage, but their blaster goes down there and their pen goes down as well. And the members of Bomeli really are struggling to push in mid here, as the members of Colon 3 have been able to just maintain control over mid for a while now. Even if it's just a trade now, the trade would matter more than going off. We do see that Buyamo coming in there, trying to get shredded out by that crab, but it's not enough. That blaster going to come in there, able to take off the crab there. And this is Bomeli's chance to really start moving in.
Yeah, Bomeli is still in the fight, but they lose their front line right there. It's going to be pretty rough. They just lost all their clams. They lost their super clam with 30 seconds remaining, as Column 3 are the ones keeping the paint on, keeping the pressure on, and Bomeli is struggling to move back in.
You see that blaster making sure that they're still alive here. 2 down the side of Colon 3. This is Bomeli's chance. They have some clams online here. Blaster going in for that flank there. They have Splash on. They have Booyah Bomb. They want to throw whatever they can at it, but they need to build the clam. They still haven't built the clam yet. And can they build the clam?
They need to. They didn't.
They didn't!
One clam away! And their support needed one extra clam to get it. And that's going to be Column 3 tying up the score.
They had the clams! They had 10 clams! I think they had more than 8, but they just could not build the ball.
Yeah, and one of their players had 7. But 7 is not 8. You need 8. That is 1-1 between these two teams. We are now going to a third game. That's going to be Rainmaker on Humpback Pump Track.
Ooh, okay. So we went from Zones Mahi, which is pretty easy to get points on, I'd say. Clam Crabfish is pretty difficult, I'd say, to get points on here. But Rainmaker Humpback is, I'd say, a pretty easy map to get points on. So both teams, it's going to come down to really who gets a huge push and who doesn't here. But I think going further, I think that game showed us Bomeli, they might have a little bit of a coordination issue. So with Rainmaker, they really got to be coordinated, because if they can't coordinate who's going to pick up the Rainmaker, who's going to be in the front, who's going to be in the back, who's watching flanks, they're not going to be able to get a good push online, and Colon 3 is going to take full advantage of that. And it's up to Colon 3 if they can get a really good push online. But a lot of Rainmaker Humpback, I feel like the second half of this game normally is just stalling. So in my eyes, I'm seeing someone's going to get a good push, and then they're just going to defend the rest of the game.
On Rainmaker, defending is, I'm not sure it's the play. You know, on Rainmaker, you can never count on a lead, especially on Humpback. No lead is safe. You can always get the KO. Things can snowball so hard on here. I think you have to be proactive, you know, especially with Nom Nom on the bucket right here. These buckets, both teams are bringing a bucket, and that's not surprising on this map. Buckets are powerful, but is that the other blaster with the beacons and the crabs? This blaster, that's going to be a great positional asset for Colon 3 right here.
Yeah, beacons are going to be super useful going forward here. And I feel like these teams have just been coordinating their main weapons because they've been copying each other. Even going with the Slosher, we do see the Tristrix go out there, but they need some kind of support if they want to pick up the Rainmaker. But the Crab's able to get a sneaky pick and 2 down on the side of Bomeli. And this is a chance for Colon 3 to really move up.
And right there, beautiful splat by the Blaster. That's going to secure the checkpoint. Nice opening by Column 3, and that trade will allow them to keep control over that side of the map. But they're forced to wait a little bit. They're not fully committing forward. The Crab is going to be ready, though. That's going to allow them to grab. Wait, someone needs to grab. Yes, they're able to grab, and with 2 down onto the melee, Column 3 are pushing in, are in that street, dodging the specials. And now that's the big question. How far can they move in?
Oh, they want to play a little bit more safer. They were trying to wait for that Crab to go, but a sneaky bomb was able to take them out here. And the members of Bomeli trying to file into mid. They're trying to get control, but the members of Colo 3 really keeping the pressure on that Rainmaker, while the Pen in the back here is trying to get whatever picks that they can here. But because they're 2 down, Bomeli is going to use this chance to really push up.
Yeah, that's finally Bomeli finding some space, finding some opportunities, but they still need to get a bit more splats. They're only fighting for mid. Getting rid of the Slosher here will allow them to get a lot of momentum. 2 down onto Column 3. It's looking bright for Bomeli, but the sneaky splash is able to stop things. Rainmaker is still re-grabbed. The checkpoint is broken. Now the big question, Matt. Can Bomeli push forward and get past the lead?
There go those strikes, applying as much space as possible, but their Blaster goes down, which is going to be really risky for them. Their Bucket's trying to come up here, trying to take him out there, but the Pen's able to take him out just in time, but the Crab keeping that Rainmaker at bay. We see the Splash trying to move up there, but they aren't able to get the splat of the Rainmaker as another Crab goes out.
It's Crab after Crab from Column 3. They're not stopping, and they're able to stop the Rainmaker right there with 3 down as well. Column 3, they got the defense, they got the back, the control over mid, and now they simply paint around. They know they have all the time in the world to prepare their push.
They have a lot of time on their hands here. We're down to these final 2 minutes. They've been able to keep up this huge push here, down to 32. We see the Bucket trying to take out that Crab, but they do end up taking out the Bucket in the process there. And the members of Colon 3 are back where they were before. They were looking to get another push onto this Rainmaker, the splashdown, completely denying it, but the Rainmaker is still alive.
Yeah, a Rainmaker holding that corner right there, as Column 3 is still maintaining so much presence. Ali in the Crab is going to survive, get away, and they're waiting for the opportunity, they're waiting for the way back in. I mean, they splat the Rainmaker, but they're still in defense mode, Matt.
And down here, but we do see a few going down there on the side of Bomeli. They're trying to pick up their Rainmaker further, but no, the Bucket's able to keep that Rainmaker back where it was. The Tri-Strikes blocking Colon 3 out there, 2 down. They try to pick up the Rainmaker, but they can't in time, and the members of Bomeli are now filing into mid. And that is a wipeout, and Bomeli's going to take full advantage of this. They want to rush that Rainmaker down.
Exactly. The lead is not that big, and the Crab tank behind everybody is going to cause quite the distraction right there. The lead is just 1 point away, but they get splatted. It's not over.
Wait, but they do get the lead.
They get forward 20 left and still 2 down on Column 3. It's not over. For many, no, they were pushed away. That's a bit of breathing, but with just 30 seconds left in this game, suddenly Column 3, they no longer have all the time in the world. Now they need to make it work, and they can't make a mistake, and they just lost 3 players. It's a wipeout. I don't think he comes back. I don't think they have beacons. That's it.
With 15 seconds left, they really just need to stall it out here. The members of Bomeli don't really need to do a lot here. Their splash goes down there, and yeah, they're just gonna back up their Rainmaker, and that's gonna secure them that game. Now Bomeli taking game 3. Now in their favor, 2-1, and they only are 1 match away from going back into grand finals.
Yeah, that's Bomeli getting the W, making a very, very nice comeback in the last minute of the game to take the lead, to take the 2-1 there on match point, as you said. And now, added to that, we are going onto a map mode that they picked, a map mode where they will be happy. And I expect that we're going to see more of these blasters that we've seen throughout this set as we are going to tower control on the Undertow Spillway, Matt.
Alrighty. So, this map is very, very common. We see this a lot here, and I think again, this is a map where Pen's gonna take really good advantage of these higher spots here. And I mean, Pen is just a weapon that just controls everything on the field and is able to output Cooler so well, and it's really gonna shine here. But I think we're gonna see a little bit more of the Bubble Blaster coming out here, because Bubble, not only is Bubble really good for tower, it's also really surprisingly good here.
Yeah, for sure. Like, there's a bubbler could hold a lot of space. A bubbler could secure things so fast. And we've seen variety in terms of specials from both of these teams. They've been switching things up. So anything could be expected, honestly. Especially Conor3 had that bubbler. Bomeli was able to punish it though with the Booyah Bombs, with what they had. They were able to punish it. So we'll see how these two teams align, how they prepare. But yeah, overpressure is on Conor3. And one thing I just realized, Matt, these two teams met in the upper bracket. And it was a 3-0 for Conor3. Bomeli learned. Bomeli came back stronger. And right now, despite Conor3 being the team that was supposed to win this, they are the ones who need a comeback now.
And now, I mean, they need to win. They don't win the next two, it's over. Bomeli only needs to win one following here. And it just means all the pressure is on them to win these next two games here. Tower control, Undertow. Let's see what these two teams have weapon-wise.
Yeah, well, that's different comps this time. Back to different main weapons.
Alrighty, we actually see a junior come out there, so not even going with the Bubble Blaster, going for the junior. Also great paint, so it might be a really good pick for them.
Yeah, and both teams are bringing the custom blaster. These splashdowns will go a long way with all these corners, with all these ledges. That triple splashdown does the job very well of stopping the opponent. Beautiful move right here by the splash to keep themselves alive, get a trade, but it's still Conor3 taking control of the tower and getting past the first checkpoint.
See that splash zone coming in there, and the members of Colon3 are able to take full advantage. They're two down here, but that splash gonna be going in there, but they are able to get a trade, luckily, down into that second checkpoint. There goes that whale, and it looks like they are gonna be able to pass this second checkpoint here. Running it down here, another down the side of Bomeli. This is gonna be really hard for them to push. The members of Colon3 got a really solid push here. They want to keep it further, but they're two down, and they keep up the push anyways, and they're gonna be going in. The bubble goes down there as they're heading for that third checkpoint.
Yeah, the Booyah Bomb is going to shred that bubbler, is going to force Colon3 to move, but they don't mind. Wow. They don't care. Colon3 crushing this game. Crushing this game.
Colon3 doesn't want to lose. That's what I'm getting from that. I don't think Colon3 wants to lose. Taking a 0 to 100 KO there, and now we're going to be going into a game 5.
Matt, until now, this felt close. This felt back and forth. But it really feels like suddenly Colon3 is done. And they're like, oh, actually, we are pissed. And you just activated our final form. And we just come in incredibly strong. Here. But
that was, I mean, incredible, just incredible coordination, incredible aggression we saw. Even when they were one or two players down, they still kept that tower push, and it ended up working exactly in their favor, and they were able to take that swift game here. we're going back to splat zones on Barnacle to finish off. So, question is, who's going to lock out here? Because we saw all the way back in game 1, both of these teams took immediate control over the zone. So it really comes down to who's going to get this control, who's going to lock out, because Barnacle is just one of those maps where it's a lot easier to lock off here than compared to Mahi. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to get that first lockout, and I mean, it's going to come down to that, because once you get locked out in this map, it's very hard to come back from.
Yeah, as you said, both of these teams very dangerous. The game that we just saw was on Undertow Speedway, a map that is all ledges on tire control, a map where you barely need to paint. Now we're going to the opposite, a flat map, 4 zones where you need paint control around. And yeah, the team that will be able to get the first lock, to get the first control, will have a huge advantage in the rest of the game. And we're back to similar comps. Once again, but still, column 3, it looks like the junior is here to stay, so is the gal. Like, they have found something, they have found the difference, and now they want to use it.
Yeah, the junior is going to be really useful here. Not only is Bubble going to be crazy on here, it's going to apply a lot of pain here, but we have to see immediately Colon 3 with a wipeout, and they are back onto Bomeli's plat here, completely taking control just 30 seconds into the game.
Right there, column 3 are in the hold. Bomeli are moving back in, but they have the Booyah, they have a lot of aggro, but they need the splats, and they're able to get the splats. 50 points mark is going to be the point for column 3. Bomeli normally now back on top of mid. But they're forced to look to the side. They're not able to get a full lock. It looks like column 3 will be able to still be in the fight, Matt.
And immediately able to get 2 down and to move on to their fight. It's going to be huge for them. Stamper taking a super aggro position, trying to get whatever picks that they can here. Down into the 50s now. It looks like Bomeli has a chance to get lead here, but as I say that, a splash out comes in and completely caps the zone there. And with 3 down the son of Bomeli, Colon 3 quickly takes control.
Beautiful, beautiful play by column 3 right there. Bomeli forced to prepare a push once again. Their Booyah Bomb is ready, but they still have to wait for the other specials, for the other players to be there. Booyah Bomb is thrown, but there's nobody to go into down on Bomeli. This could be it. Column 3 incredibly strong in their lock right there. The crab is trying to get paint on the zone. Can it get paint on the zone? Everybody going in the splashdown to save the day.
And now we've seen the fact that Colon 3 had a really quick KO, and now Bomeli's going back to back with them. They have control over the zone there. They want to get as many points as they can online. They're trying to work through that penalty. The Gal taking a super aggressive position. They are able to get one there. Gal looking for that zone there. One down. There goes that splash down. And Colon 3 quickly takes control before any points could be added to Bomeli's score. And they're going to be forced to back up here as the members of Colon 3 are going to be really quick to try to gain control of their plat.
Yeah, it really feels like in this game, on this map, column 3 are able to push back in whenever they want, where Bomeli needs to plan, needs to wait, needs to prepare before going for what that extra time is costing them right now. They need to push column 3 away. They need to get the splats to column 3 before they get their specials right now. As they're pushing in, though, it's 2 versus 2. That 2v2 could decide a lot, as Bomeli are so close to the lead, Matt.
With that Booyah Bomb coming in there, trying to space out the members. We're down to a 3v3, and it looks like Bomeli is going to be taking lead here. The members of Colon 3 are trying to push in as fast as they can. We do see the whale coming out there. The zone has flipped. The bubble comes out there. The blaster doing whatever he can. There goes the splash out, but it's not enough to pay the zone. And with 2 down, the Colon 3, Bomeli is trying to pay the zone there. And they get in. Bomeli gets the cap there, and it looks like that might lead them to the KO, and it is.
Incredible game right there. The momentum was completely for column 3. Bomeli able finally to get not just control of mid, not just being able to push their opponent away, but to get the extra splat, the extra punishes to really force column 3 out, and they keep that zone by a hair and win the game. They are qualified to grand finals.
That was just amazing. I mean, we saw how back and forth the set, and then randomly tower control undertow colon 3 was able to 0 to 100 push them. So all of that as you said, all that momentum was really in colon 3's favor. But Bomeli, they were able to just keep up with them the entire game, and eventually it just came down to getting 2 down, going on their plat there, and waiting for that penalty to go down and get that lead there. And the members of colon 3 just did not have enough time to push in here, and that's what really led Bomeli to that 3-2 win there, and they're going to be going off into our grand finals.
Absolutely, our grand finals will be Bomeli Nobody going against Easy MD. We'll take a short break so we can set up the lobby, and we'll be right back.
I got it. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Paddling Pool number 359. My name is Matthew Mega, and I'm here with Pat, and we will be your commentators for Paddling Pool Grand Finals. We have Easy MD up against Bomeli Nomali, the team to win 3-2 in the losers finals and make their way up into the Grand Finals. Pat, what do you, starting off our Rainmaker scores, what do you think going forward here? What do you think we're going to be seeing?
We could see anything. These teams can play fast, they can play around. And starting on Rainmaker, we're going to see fights, we're going to see paint around. And I mean, at some point, EasyMD have shown us, especially in the upper bracket finals, how dominant they could be, how dangerous they could be, how adaptive they could be. So I feel like the pressure is on Bomeli Nomali. If they need to lock in, they need to play their best, their absolute best, if they want to bring the fight to EasyMD. And I mean, they've shown us that under the pressure, they can make it work.
Yeah, so I mean, going forward, I mean, EasyMD, I feel like they've been known for just kind of stamping through teams here, but I don't believe they actually had a single 3-0 going forward here. So looks like this paddling pool, we've had a lot of strong teams competing here, and it comes down to just these final two teams that have earned their spot here in the grand finals. There's a Dapples. I'm happy.
Yep. The blue Dapples are coming. The Reef Slider on this map can be pretty dangerous. You can't underestimate it. It can splat the Rainmaker carrier in an instant right here. And both of these teams now trying to get control over the Rainmaker. And Bomeli able to already get a splat, get some presence. And oh, well, I spoke a bit too soon. It looks like Bomeli are forced out, and EasyMD are gonna get to the checkpoint right away.
Yeah, super quick take here. They have the zip ready, they have the Reef Slider, they aren't able to find any picks there, but they are able to just run that Rainmaker down. That splashdown going to be finishing off there, but down to 41, so a pretty good push there, but EasyMD now 3 down there, and the members of Bomeli are able to just push them out here. And with all 4 players on that one player, it looks like Bomeli is now into mid, and they are looking to go onto EasyMD's checkpoint.
They need to answer, they need to get back in there, and they're already getting the checkpoint. That's what you want to do. Beautiful play. And they're gonna get the repop as well. They're still in the fight, but EasyMD answers the call. No re-grab for you. EasyMD very much happy to get in the fight, but oh wait, Ali's going to grab, he's going to extend the score, not get the lead though. That's still EasyMD on top of the score, but the checkpoint is broken.
And with 2 down on the side of EasyMD, Bomeli still has control over mid here. They're able to splat that Rainmaker here. The Splash able to try to find extra picks there. They do get the blaster out of the way here. They have Crab ready. We do see one of their players pick up there. They want to force it more. Bomeli, they have a chance to push here.
And, I mean, Bomeli are still going in. They kind of surrounded though in a few rough fights. They're able to keep the numbers advantage. They're able to keep the Rainmaker alive. And with 3 players down, they could get the lead right here, Matt.
But the burst bomb stopping them. They're all weak. They are able to get the splat there, but EasyMD is 2 down there, and another one goes down there. And this is their chance. They're just gonna run it, but no, they get taken out again. Just trying to stall it for the teammates to come back in. Booyah Bomb's gonna be coming in there. Splash out as well. And now this is their chance. They have to just push it. We have to push it, guys.
They keep going in trade after trade. EasyMD keeps their lead alive. But can they keep it going? How long can they keep it going? Bomeli not able to... Oh, that's sad. Oh no.
And that was on stream.
Oh,
we didn't
and
see
the
that.
Rainmaker drops to the side. That's rough. I mean, they were close, but at the end, EasyMD able to simply stagger their response, constantly have the trade with the Rainmaker, and that's all you need. That's all you need. As long as you're able to respawn and eventually win the fight, that's all you need.
But the members of Bomeli, they've been able to keep up this support here. They've been able to get these really good splats here. They just need to push down Rainmaker just a little bit more there. But we do see 2 going down on Bomeli as soon as I say that. And there are 3 down there. And EasyMD making quick work of that push. Pushing back into mid. They want to gain this much control. And they want to try to get another push going because they don't have a very strong lead.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very small lead. There isn't much in terms of safety right there for EasyMD, who are going in with a beautiful Reef Slider. They're able to create some space. They're so close to extending their lead. But with 2 players down, I think they'll have to wait a little bit more.
Yeah, but we do see their Dapples going down there. Bomeli is able to keep it alive. They didn't gain any points from that. But with 40 seconds left on the clock, Bomeli, they just need one good push here. But if anything, they just want to stall this Rainmaker. They're able to get that down to 35, and they really just have 30 seconds to push here. With they're sliding the splash down. They want to just delay Bomeli as further as they can, but the Rainmaker doesn't get taken out there. And with the Booyah Bomb coming in there, Bomeli, they're keeping it alive, and they have one push to make something happen here.
EasyMD forcing Bomeli to constantly be in a trade. They're constantly dropping forward and trading with the Rainmaker, and that's 3 down on Bomeli. Only the splash to pop the Rainmaker. I don't think that's going to work. Right there, EasyMD takes... Oh! They grab!
There's an overtime!
They grab!
No! Yeah. EasyMD. A lot of I will say, definitely a closer game than I thought. Bomeli really had a good chance of taking lead. If they had just pushed it just a few inches further, they would have had the lead. But they just, that one hesitation costed them to lose the game. And EasyMD taking game 1 going forward. And now we're going to be going back onto tower control.
It's so hard when you're in that situation with the Rainmaker, because you have to watch every angle. You cannot let a single way onto the Rainmaker to your opponent, because a trade with the Rainmaker in that situation is always good. EasyMD just went in and traded over and over and over. They had number disadvantage, they had special disadvantage, they had everything disadvantage, but they kept the Rainmaker splatted before it could get the lead. And at some point, because it was right next to their spawn, they ended up getting the advantage back, because hey, they respawn faster, they just need to run back forward, and that gave them victory in game 1. And now we're going to a map that they picked, which is going to be Iltel Alley on tower control.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like this leader is going to help them out so much. I mean, wait, did they have leader last game?
Not last game, but we know they have a leader. Devin 4K, who has a 4K in his name, was playing the Blaster in the previous game.
Okay. I mean, the Blasters have been just going back to back. I mean, we saw one of those first pushes. We saw a Blaster get a double, and then the other Blaster following with a double as well. So these Blasters have been going back to back. So, honestly, I don't know if they're going to switch out Blaster here, but Devin is known for E-Leader, and for this being such a linear map, I think they want to take advantage of E-Leader here.
Right. Editor is always good, especially on this map. We'll see what EasyMD decides to bring. They up 1 point, and they are on the upper side. Bomeli would need a bracket reset in order to be the victors, which means EasyMD keeps the Elita in the drawer and are bringing back the Blaster. But I mean, there's something unusual here.
The glue guns.
Yeah.
We haven't actually seen yet, but the crab immediately going out there. 1 down on both sides here. They want to clear that crab out of the way here. But the members of EasyMD, they are able to pick up that tower, going for that first checkpoint. We see the Stamper trying to just create as much space as possible here. They are able to pass that first checkpoint. Moving forward, they got through that first little mark. But a cheeky pick from that Stamper is really going to help them here. Going in for that second checkpoint, their Glugos go down there. The Blaster trying to take them out if they can here. They have the cooler, but they really can't clear that second checkpoint. As the members of Bomeli really trying to move out there. They have that Booyah Bomb. They want to take as much control as possible, but the tower is riding back there, and the Gluga isn't able to get the pick. And the members of Bomeli are able to send the tower straight back into mid.
Bomeli right there, still fighting for their side, though. There's lots of splats, it's so hard to follow what's happening, as EasyMD is still respawning, still jumping right in there and fighting, but Ali with the splash is able to punish. There's still Glugas behind you, though! The Glugas jumped in! you got rest with Easy.
You can't. Quickly taking them out here, and Bomeli, they have a chance here, but their Stamper goes down. The crab coming up. It's just that Gluga there, and they're gonna force them out there. Bomeli finally gets the tower grab for the first time of the game there, wanting to get through this first checkpoint. They are able to get through that first checkpoint here, leading down for that second. They have the Booyah Bomb ready. They're gonna fire it off soon. The Zip coming in here. There goes that Booyah Bomb. Completely clearing that checkpoint there, but 2 down on the side of ECMD. Bomeli picks up the tower again, but no, the pen gets taken out there, and ECMD completely not letting them in, but no, they get wiped out, and Bomeli's able to take that tower again as they're going for that second checkpoint.
Huge play by Bomeli right there. They're gonna get ready in with a crab on the tower. That crab has been dominant, but they fell off the tower. Yeah, you want to make your points, you want to get past the checkpoint, and yes, they do, and they still have the numbers right there. That's 3 down on EasyMD. Bomeli, Nomali are pushing in.
They're aiming for that third checkpoint here. They do make it. The Zap trying to go up behind them, but the Lucas gets taken out there. They forced to jump out there to try to play a little bit more safer. As the members of Bomeli, they're still able to keep the pressure on the tower alive there. They want to cut. They do get a pick off the splash there, but they do make it to that third checkpoint, but not exactly touching it. There goes that splash down, able to get the Glugas out of there. But Bomeli's just able to keep up this non-stop pressure.
And that's 3 down on Bomeli. EasyMD finally able to get back control to bring the tower back into mid. And now they have to push once again. We're in the last 2 minutes of this game, and EasyMD are back on the tower, are pushing, but there's a Stamper behind them. Booyah bombing forward, forcing them to look to the side. They get punished, but that was a lot of time to give the rest of the team to Bomeli to set themselves back in position.
But here they are able to get these picked there. They get another really good trade with the Blaster here, but they aren't able to keep up the tower pressure. They're trying to keep it alive here, but the members of Bomeli have been doing a really good job of keeping them out here. But as they do aim for the second checkpoint, Booyah Bomb's going to be going out there. They want to force anyone that they can out. They want to clear this side here, and they're doing exactly that. But they can't. They lose the tower here. They're trying to get the checkpoint. The question is, will they actually fire Zip, leaving the tower as the Stamper just letting the members of Bomeli have it?
Right there, a few players from EasyMD were able to super jump in, but they get punished. They very much get punished. It's a wipe out, and they didn't even break the check. But with 30 seconds left in the game, Matt, this is looking pretty nice for Bomeli Nomali.
As the members of Bomeli and Nomali are getting another push online, they want to just really shove that tower into their base to give them enough time to really just set up a really star defense here. As we do see that Gluga looking to punch up there, but really not enough there. But they are able to get that tower with the 5 seconds remaining. EasyMD starting up that overtime. They have one more push. They have control. Their Blaster goes down there. They enter in that check here. 2 go down, another down there, and ECMD has control. All they need to do is run into that third checkpoint.
Whoa, and there's nobody to stop them right now. They take the lead.
Wow.
What a comeback. Bomeli Nomali looked so strong on here. but EasyMD reminding us who they are and what they can do. You can never count them out. They are always the favorite.
And now, EasyMD leading 2-0 on the board, and it's time for Splashdown, for Splat Zones to return here on Umami Ruins. Now, this is going to be an interesting one. They've been using the blaster well, so I think they're going to keep the blaster here. I don't even think they need to switch to E-Leader.
I don't think we keep the glue gas. I don't think the glue gas works that well. But EasyMD, I mean, they could bring anything. I feel like they're confident and they like to try things, so they could do anything. The big question is, what does Bomeli change? What does Bomeli do to really match that crazy, to really keep EasyMD, to creating the surprise, to getting back whenever they want, whenever they need? And yeah, let's get in what could be the final game of this tournament. It's match point for EasyMD, and yeah, they're bringing the leader.
Oh.
They want to end it.
Yeah, they want to close it out. They want that quick 3-0, and it's up to Bomeli to stop them in their tracks and force a game 4. And the question is, can they do it here? Both teams rushing towards the zone here already. Everyone taking their positions, but immediately you see the blaster of Bomeli go down there as the members of EasyMD quickly move up there, getting another with the blaster. And EasyMD has control over zones there. They have one down. They want to push towards their plat. They want to get a really quick lockout here.
Yeah, and the Blaster getting punished for being a bit too forward. Bomeli just lost their backline, though. They'll have trouble pushing themselves as they need to cut the distance onto EasyMD. They get punished right here. That's going to cost them. Look at that, the Blaster going in so far, taking so much space, and Bomeli now need to paint even more before they can push.
There goes the Booyah Bomb, not able to get anyone as another goes down there, down into the 20s now. They have a splash already. That crab trying to apply it. No, it's not enough. The Blast are able to get another pick before being taken out there. The members of Bomeli, they have to cap this next zone here, and they are able to cap there with 7 remaining, but no, EasyMD paints over with a splash down. They're taking a quick 3-0 to finish off Bomeli, and they are your paddling pool winners this week.
That is game, set, and tournament for EasyMD. Dominating this last game, not letting Bomeli Nomadi get any ground and pushing them further and further throughout. Beautiful control by them, really making sure they had the pace of the game in the palm of their hand. And yeah, that's a 3-0 for EasyMD, who are going to once again take the paddling pool crown. Congratulations to them.
That was just an amazing set, and I mean, Bomeli was still able to keep up with them, especially in those first 2 games. They did such a good job of having those pushes. Bomeli, they had a lead for a while in that second game. They had a good chance only to lose in overtime. So really, Bomeli did their best to keep the members of EasyMD at bay, but really when it came down to that last match, EasyMD was not messing around. They got that quick lockout with that 2 down. They were able to take control, and they were just able to wipe the members of Bomeli off the map and take that 3-0 win. So both teams just doing such a great job of playing at their best here, but that is going to be the end of paddling pool number 359. So before we head off, Pat, where can they find you?
Best way to find me is probably on Blue Sky. You can find me on the screen right there. And how about you, Matt?
You can find me anywhere at Matthew Mega. And yeah, pretty much that's where you can find me. We do want to shout out our streamer for paddling pool, Naga, for coming in to stream these amazing tournaments for you viewers at home. A shout out to Naga, and this is the end of Paddling Pool 359. Thank you all for showing up here to watch. Thank you for all the teams GG's to all the teams, and congratulations to ECMD for taking that win. And that is going to be the end of Paddling Pool. So we will see you all in 2 days for try.